What? What? Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Oh. Okay. Oh. Mm. Buckle up. The
Is this the place
Grand
for the gra
Koran Study.
Is it here?
Yes, miss. You're at the right address.
Interesting. I can't wait.
The Grand Koran Study.
Peace be upon you.
Peace be upon you, Mila. Thanks for coming. God bless you.
God bless you too.
All right. Nuha, you want to volunteer to be our reader today?
Sorry, I'm unavailable. I'll be listening, but I can't contribute a lot.
Okay. Let me just start this up. Okay. All right. We're about to have lots of fun. God willing. Peace, brother. Minna is back with a new account. Okay. I swear Nuha is so funny. Oh my god. All right. Peace be upon you all. Okay. Please join us for the grand study starting now. Peace be upon you, Mr. Dude. What's up, Peter? Yo. All right. About to tag 4,000 people. 4,129 people. Peace be upon you, everyone. Please join us for the Grand Crown Study starting now. Peace be upon you, Shadow. Thanks for having me here. 3, 2, 1.
Peace be upon you.
Boom. See, I got that link correct. Who wants to do the recitation today? We're going to start in 2 minutes, God willing. Do you want to do that? Talat? Or what? 11:20. Okay, hey, Talat, can you go to the other VC and tell them to join the Quran study is about to start? Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks. I'm just putting the link for the Grand Quran study and all the VCs or all the chats. Let's see, where's submitters dash chat? All right. I got to start in a couple minutes, so we need a volunteer. Honestly, I'm just going to have to read. Peace be upon you all. Thanks for joining. I'm just going to have to volunteer. Talant or how you doing, Bashman? Bashman 45, peace be upon you. And brother Altaf. Okay. Peace be upon you guys. Can somebody go to the other VC and get them? I guess. Peter, can you go get them? Oh,
So
Farah,
Moshi is there. Should I go get them?
yeah, can you just tell them to join VC1 now, please, and thanks. Because I have to start reading.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, just tell them to join because I have to start reading. Oh, thank God. Thank God. All right.
Funny, what story are we on?
Yeah, Surah 11, so chapter 11, verse 20. I'm going to read God willing.
Surah 11, verse 20.
Yeah, God bless you. Okay. Oh, wow, we got so many people that it doesn't trigger the sound anymore. All these people are joining, but there's no sound. Okay. Praise God. So I'm going to load these verses, God willing. Peace be upon you all. Thank you for joining the Grand Quran study. I'm going to load the verses in VC1-chat. Let's see. Footnotes, yes. And the verse we're starting at is 11:20. Okay. Okay. Oh, sorry, I didn't put the right amount of verses. 11:20 to 30. Footnotes, yes. Okay. All right, I'm going to read these verses. I seek refuge in God from Satan, the rejected. Verse 20. Oh, wait, what? Why am I in jail? I'm so sorry, guys. I was in jail. Thank you for loading the verses.
Oh wow, I didn't realize my mic was muted this whole time. My bad. Hey,
Yeah.
you want to do one last plea if someone wants to read? Some fresh voices. Lisa, you're unmuted. Like to read?
Don't mind reading.
Oh, who is that?
Brother
Marcelo?
Hakeem.
Was it Hakeem? Yeah, if that's okay. Yeah. So what are we
Just
gonna
tell me
read from?
when.
We're gonna read 11:20 to what, 30?
Yeah, that's it. 11:20 to 30. That's right.
Ready when you are.
Yeah, go for it, please.
Yeah, so just
All right.
a heads up, yeah. So it seems like there's more verses in the chat, but just if you can stop at 30.
No problem. Okay. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. 11:20. The disbelievers. These will never escape, nor will they find any lords or masters to help them against God. Retribution will be doubled for them. They have failed to hear, and they have failed to see. These are the ones who lose their souls, and the idols they have fabricated will disown them. There is no doubt that in the hereafter, they will be the worst losers. The believers. As for those who believe and lead a righteous life and devote themselves to their Lord, they are the dwellers of paradise. They abide therein forever. The example of these two groups is like the blind and deaf. Compared to the seer and the hearer, are they equal? Would you not take heed? Noah. When we sent Noah to his people saying, I come to you as a clear warning. You cannot worship except God. I fear for you the retribution of a painful day. The leaders who disbelieved among his people said, we see that you are no more than a human being like us. And we see the first people to follow you are the worst among us. We see that you do not possess any advantage over us. Indeed, we think you are liars. He said, "Oh, my people, what if I have a solid proof from our Lord? What if he has blessed me out of his mercy, though you cannot see it? Are we going to force you to believe therein? Oh, my people, do not ask for any money. My wage comes only from God. I am not dismissing those who believe. They will meet their Lord, and he alone will judge them. I see that you are an ignorant people. Oh, my people, who can support me against God if I dismiss them? Would you not take heed?"
Praise God. Any comments or questions from the reading, Hakeem? You want to start it off?
Sure. I like the part where it says that the people was debating about the people that was following Noah. And they were saying that, well, the people that are following you, they are like the worst among us, right? And for us who have decided to follow the messenger of the covenants, revelations of us becoming submitters, the whole Sunni world is in an outrage, saying, "Oh, we're the dumb ones. We're a hodgepodge of all these different people. They don't know anything." And and all we're doing is we're just trying to just bring, and we're the ones that's doing the most work, just trying to bring people on one accord. Because if we could just come together on one accord, one common denomination, just believing in God alone, oh, how much happier the world would be. But see, Satan has an agenda, and his agenda is to keep the people confused and all of these things, and fighting with one another and warring with one another. So Allah, may God, may the peace, may he be praised and highly glorified, has a solution. And the solution is, just one accord, one religion, one way, submission to his will alone. And that's why he says he's going to fill the hell with many, many people who are claiming to be believers. But all we have to do is just keep doing what we're doing, everyone. Just keep doing what we're doing, and God willing, we'll receive our reward.
Mr. Bro, can you mute yourself? Okay, thank you very much. So everybody that joined, peace be upon you. We just read from chapter 11, verse 20 through verse 30. And I had a comment about these verses, if that's okay. I had a comment about verse, this is really interesting. So from verse 26 to verse 29, you see the three minimum requirements for a messenger in these verses. In these three verses, 26, 28, and 29. One is the proclamation to worship God alone. So he says, you shall not worship except God. Boom. So that's done. Two, in verse 28, Noah says, I do not, what if I have, oh my people, what if I have solid proof from my Lord? That's the second minimum requirement. Three, verse 29, it says, oh my people, I do not ask you for any money. My wage comes only from God. So these are the three minimum requirements for a messenger in these three verses right here. And this is really important because this is something that comes up a lot, is how do you distinguish a false messenger from a real messenger? And people always ask, where are these requirements coming from? How do we know what's what? And so they're spread out through the Quran, but here's an instance where all three requirements are right next to each other. And I put these minimum requirements are cited at the end of Appendix 2. And also I put the quote for these minimum requirements in VC1 dash chat. If anyone has any questions or comment, please unmute yourself. And then, or you can type your question in the chat. Go ahead, thanks.
Peace be upon all of you. God bless you all. My question is, I want us or somebody to explain what God is talking about when He's telling His messengers and all the submitters not to dismiss, those who believe that are with them, no matter whether they are poor or rich or whether they are weak or whatever. What does it mean when God says do not dismiss anyone? And that, so can somebody explain that this process?
Brother, which verse does this?
It says
I
30.
think,
30.
yeah, yes, 29:30.
So 29 and
Oh.
30 says, yeah, it says, "Oh, my people, I do not ask you for any money. My wage comes only from God. I am not dismissing those who believed." And then in 30 it says, "Oh, my people, who can support me against God? If I dismiss them, would you not take heed?"
We have seen the same verse to Muhammad, directed to Muhammad in Surah 6. I think in Surah
Yes.
6, 50 or
It's
52,
652.
thereabout. Yes.
Yeah.
So can somebody explain this to us, please? And does it happen among us? How can we correct this if it happens? Yeah, between us. So, mashallah.
So 652 it says, "And do not dismiss those who implore the Lord day and night, devoting themselves to him alone. You are not responsible for their reckoning, nor are they responsible for your reckoning." And then here it says, "If you dismiss them, you will be a transgressor." Right? Meaning that God is setting the limits of what is acceptable in the sense that if we go beyond that and we dismiss someone who doesn't, qualify for dismissal, that we would be qualifying ourselves as being a transgressor, in the sight of God. And that's what really counts. There's another verse too in 494 in the same vein. This is in the context of like war, but, the lesson is universal. It says, "O you who believe, if you strike in the cause of God, you shall be absolutely sure. Do not say to one who offers you peace, you are not a believer, seeking the spoils of this world, for God possesses infinite spoils." And then here it says, "Remember that you used to be like them, and God blessed you. Therefore, you shall be absolutely sure before you strike. God is fully cognizant of everything you do." The way I understand this is, yeah, we can't dismiss, especially when we look at kind of the verses here, people on superficial grounds. When it says the worst among us, the way I understand that is that this is for superficial reasons that they're saying that these people are the worst, not the fact that they're sinful and evil, right? That they're the worst in the sense of like maybe their appearance, their success, their wealth, these vanity metrics. But the metric by which we should judge by is belief. So in 29 it says, "I'm not dismissing those who believe," right? And it's the same thing here in 652 when it's talking about, it says, "Those who are devoting themselves to him alone." We shouldn't care as far as the nuance of what they say or what they think, because as you're not responsible for their reckoning. Meaning, if they're doing something wrong, that's on them, nor are they responsible for your reckoning. To me, the criteria by which we judge has to be belief, and it has to be the Quran. That's how we're going to determine is someone a believer or not, and not these kind of superficial metrics.
Thank you, brother. Can we link also these verses with like Surah 18, verse 28, and then the Surah 59 that talks about reconciliation, verse 9 and 10, when there is a misunderstanding or a quarrel or whatever between the believers and some are dismissing others. Can we reflect also? Can we link these verses all together to see if we are going against some of these verses as believers also? Brother Dude, I would need your input.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
Hey, Ibrahim, if you want to take the first stab, but I just don't want to be what do you call it, occupying all the talking time, or if someone else wants to chime in. I loaded the verses that Brother Ibrahim mentioned, 18:28 and 49:9 and 10.
Question.
Yeah, go for it, bro.
What was the brother saying about what does that superficial metrics? What is that? What does that mean?
Oh, so this means just like things that are vain, like how someone dresses, the income they have, the status they have, what zip code they live in, things that have nothing to do with righteousness. They're purely vanities of this world. That's like what I mean by superficial metrics, right? What job someone has is not going to tell me anything about their righteousness. How fancy their clothes are says nothing. What their status at their company or within society is. There's no correlation between that and righteousness. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Peace be upon you all, brothers and sisters. MashaAllah, some good verses and comments, and I wanted to chime in as well. Yeah, so I think this is a good reminder for all of us, because this is a serious thing, as Brother Dude linked that verse 652, that this is a serious matter, that God is saying that if you do dismiss, you're going to be a transgressor. If you dismiss a believer, you will be a transgressor. So for our own good, and these are first reminders for myself, may God help me and us to not do this. For our own good, we want to be very careful that we don't do this. And I looked at the definition of dismiss just so we can get a little bit deeper. So it's saying, as the verb form, order or allow to leave, send away, discharge from employment or office. Okay, that doesn't apply so much here per se. Treat as unworthy of serious consideration. Treat as unworthy of serious consideration. Similar, it's saying banish, put away, set aside. So, yeah, so I think that this is something that we want to be very careful of, that we don't even, fall into this, that we don't consider people who are believers, like, God forbid, we don't want to send them away, or not allow them to congregate with us. That's obviously, and then if there's kind of name calling where that's not deserved, I think that's even worse. So that's something we want to be even more careful about. And so God tells us that in 652, and then here in these passage of verses that we read, we see how Noah sets that example, that when people are telling him, oh, the first people to follow you are the worst among us. And he says, I'm not gonna dismiss those who believed. I'm gonna turn it over to God for their judgment. They will meet their Lord, and He alone will judge them. And then he's afraid for his own soul. So he's like, oh, my people, who can support me against God if I dismiss them? Like, I'm going to face consequences if I do that. And I don't want to put myself in that position. So Quran gives us examples that we want to follow, we want to learn from. And he gives us examples that we don't want to follow, we don't want to learn from, like Pharaoh and others. So may God help us to follow the good examples, and not follow examples that are not good for us to follow. Thanks.
Peace be upon you. And
Yeah.
everyone, if you could just give a reminder for everybody, please, if you could just keep your comments short. A lot of people here, so we can make short, concise comments to the best of our ability, so we can get through people's comments. Sorry, go ahead. I want to make a comment.
Peace be upon you. Can I make a comment, please?
Yeah, is it related to the verses?
Yes, related to the verses where they said worst amongst us. Look, just basically what the messenger is saying, that this is not about us. This is not about God and His decision.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I thought we lost or I lost connectivity.
No, you're fine.
Okay. That was it, homie?
Yeah, peace be upon you. Yeah,
Hey,
I just basically said that the messenger is saying to them, you're following words amongst us. And he says, how can I dismiss them? It's basically, it's God's will. And the messenger is saying God is doing everything. And it's not about our point of view of the world of the people. This is God's choice. So basically, that's what he's saying. People are saying that. And he's saying, how do I know what they've done? God knows everything, and it's God's choice. It's not our choice. And that verse that it suggests that follow those people and sorry, and do not worry, do not seek the vanities of this world. Again, that sort of relates to what we were saying about the way how we have influence on one another, influence of the point of views that we have. If that is about God, then it's not about any of these things.
Good.
Thank you.
There's a couple questions that came into the text. I don't know if anyone wants to ask them. Otherwise, I'll read it. I'll start with Alfred. Alfred, unless you can talk, you want to ask the question? It says, I have a question regarding verse 21 where it says losing their souls. Are they losing their soul to the hellfire? The concept, from my understanding, when it says that they lose their souls, is that it's like it's diminishing. It's losing, not in the sense of lost, taken away, but just the fact that it's diminishing. That's my understanding. So when it says like losers, that's the act of someone who's diminishing something. It's not that it's how do you put it? Like there's a distinction between if someone's losing and someone is lost, right? Like it got taken away from them. And then there's another question regarding that the retribution will be doubled for them in verse 20. I believe this has to do with the preceding verses. So if we read from 18, it says, "Who are more evil than those who fabricate lies about God? They will be presented before their Lord, and the witnesses will say, these are the ones who lied about their Lord. God's condemnation has befallen the transgressors. They repel from the way of God and seek to make it crooked, and they're disbelievers in the hereafter." Then it talks about they will never escape, nor will they find any lords or masters, and says the retribution will be doubled for them. That people who do these kind of atrocious acts, that basically they're going to have double the retribution, as opposed to someone who didn't, fabricate lies against God, and repel people from the path. If someone's a disbeliever but doesn't do those transgressions, they won't have the double the retribution.
May I make a comment about 11:21, please? Losing their souls.
Yeah, go for it.
Yes. So if we are created, God created us out of clay and breathed His own spirit into us, and that gets transferred to children of Adam, who's us. And the connection that we have with God is His breath, what He breathed in us. That is our soul. That is the essence of our soul. That what gives us life. There has been a huge amount of questions about matter. And the latest one is that the consciousness is actually embedded with the structure of matter. So your brain is is a structure such that our consciousness can exist in it. And it's a false argument because everything is made out of atoms. So basically, a bell would have a lower consciousness. So this consciousness is attributed to the way the structure, this matter forms, forms neurons and synapses. Therefore, it becomes conscious. But God says otherwise. He says, I made man out of clay and I breathe of my spirit into him. And in 1121, when we find that we go against God willingly, we use God's spirit, which is our lives, to oppose him and to oppose others on his path. Then ultimately,
Brother
what
homie,
we're going to
please.
lose.
Brother homie, please.
Sure.
I'm so sorry.
Sure. If you're going to lose, the God will take that away from us. That piece is what we take, and that basically is hell. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, yeah, if we could just keep our comments short, just a few sentences, be concise, focus on a specific point, and just finish that. Tikkun, did you want to unmute yourself? You had a few questions. Do you want to unmute and ask any questions you have? Please, yeah, everybody, please refrain from using the soundboard during the Quran study. Thank you very much.
I can go through some of these questions. They're good questions.
If you like, I mean, this person won't verify themselves. They won't unmute. They won't.
Yeah, but it's nevertheless,
Yeah.
it's good questions.
Okay. Sure.
This is verse 28, people. What if I have solid proof of my Lord? What if he has blessed me out of his mercy, though you cannot see? And then Tikkun says, what's the point of Noah rebuking his people by saying, I have proof you cannot see it? So the word that's used there, this blindness, the this is in reference to someone who's willfully blind. And we see this in 2246. It says, did they not roam the earth, then use their minds to understand and use their ears to hear? Indeed, the real blindness is not the blindness of the eyes, but the blindness of the hearts inside the chest. So these are individuals who are making an active decision to disbelieve, that they see the proof, they acknowledge it momentarily, but then they dismiss it. And we have an example of this with Abraham, where he goes, he destroys the idols, and they say, okay, which one did this? And it says the big one did it. And it says for that moment they reflected upon themselves and they realized they were the ones who were astray, yet they reverted back to their old ways. And they said, you know full well that these cannot speak, right? So this is kind of the blindness that it's talking about. It's like they see it with their eyes, and then they deny what's in front of them, that they're willfully blind to it. And just one other verse, it says, as for Thamud, we provided them with guidance, but they preferred blindness over guidance. Consequently, the disastrous and shameful retribution annihilated them because of what they earned.
Brother Dude, which verses were you referring to in this passage about that? Was it 22? No, sorry.
2246 and 41:17. I didn't put the one regarding Abraham. I'll add that right now just to make sure. I believe it's in.
Oh yeah, no, I meant in this passage that we read.
Oh, so it was asking the blind. In 28, it says, "What if he has blessed me out of his mercy, though you cannot see it?" So then Tikkun was asking, "What's the point of punishing people if they can't see it?" So as if they were choosing to like they legitimately can't see it, as opposed to someone who's like willfully blind. So that was the point I was bringing up.
Okay, thank you. So you're saying that the Arabic for this in this verse suggests like can you elaborate on that a little bit or
It's basically it's understood as a willful blindness, right? It's different than a blindness where
interesting.
someone
Okay.
legitimately can't see. This is the blindness where someone chooses to just disregard, be oblivious, not take heed.
Okay. And that's probably different from like 24 where it says the example of these two groups is like blind and deaf. That blind compared to the seer and hear, right? Is there a
Ibasar
distinction
would be like a
between?
seer, right?
Hmm?
Yeah. So like Ibasar would be someone who sees. But you'll see like the blindness that this is in reference to, like in other verses, like the ones I provided, that this is someone who's willfully choosing to be blind.
Okay.
Rather
But
than
sorry,
yes, who has a problem with their.
then like, okay, so the 24 is like a physical blindness. The Arabic is like a physical versus these other ones, right? If I
Which
understood
verse?
that. So
Oh, it's on
11:20.
24. Let's take a look. 11:24. Is the example those two groups like the blind and the deaf compared to the seer and the hearer? Yeah, I mean, let's put it this way: you can be physically blind, right? I mean, that's the thing. But from these like the context of these verses, I don't think it's talking about someone who's like actually blind, right? It's talking about this metaphorical blindness or willful blindness.
Right, right. That's why I wondered whether like the 28 was different from 24, because the 24 it seems like it's making a kind of an analogy. So I was just curious if the Arabic was different. It would be interesting. But yeah, thank you for sharing, mashallah.
May I make a short comment, please?
Yeah, definitely.
It's also the other thing is seeing is believing. But here, I think is the faith, belief in the unseen, not just what you see. You have to have faith. Your faith is belief in the unseen. That's the one that seals it. If you could see it, then what's the point of all this? So here we see what we believe. The other point is that you believe what you don't see.
Thank you very much for everyone. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, good.
No, I was just gonna say, remind everyone we read the verses 11:20 through 30. And everyone, if anyone has any questions or comments, they can put them in the chat or unmute. Does anyone have any questions or comments now?
There's a question that came up in the chat regarding the analogy in 220, but God willing, let's save this for after the study, because then it's like kind of derailing from the verses. But I'm sure we can look. I want to make a comment regarding the first verse in 20. It says, "These will never escape, nor will they find any lords or masters to help them against God." This concept of intercession, people thinking that some other entity independent of God is going to come and change and alter their outcome, that if they're destined for hell, this other entity is going to come and say, "No, God, this person deserves paradise." That it corresponds with these lies that they're attributing to God. God is the only one who judges. God is the only one who determines who goes to heaven and hell. God is the best judge. To think some other entity is going to come and intervene and change God's judgment just creates so many contradictions in the Quran. And for us, we have to, if we read something in the Quran and it causes us to have a, build a kind of a understanding, we have to battle test that against all the other verses of the Quran to come up with a consistent understanding. So if we think that again, there's some other entity that is going to intervene and change God's predetermined like outcome from His judgment, it just shows that they don't actually understand God's qualities and attributes.
Wonderful. Anyone else have any questions or comments about the verses that were read?
Sorry, though, Brother Dude has, elaborated on the question I initially asked. But can we still look at dismissing as banning the submitters? Can these two words be seen in the same perspective? If the messengers of God would be this careful not to dismiss anybody who believe and they are worshippers of God, can we also be careful not to ban, quick in banning anybody who is a believer, who is a submitter that we know and is part of us? That is my advice. That's an advice, inshallah.
Yeah, so regarding the those previous verses, they're really good and they're applicable to kind of this topic. Pull them up again. So it's 18:28 says, "You shall force yourself to be with those who worship their Lord day and night, seeking Him alone. Do not turn your eyes away from them, seeking the vanities of this world. Nor shall you obey one whose heart we rendered oblivious to our message, one who pursues his own desires and whose priorities are confused." So this verse is saying, force ourselves to be with the believers. And then 49, 9, and 10 is talking about if two groups of believers fight, it's the duty of the neutral party to reconcile. And then if one group continues to aggress, for that neutral party now to fight against the aggressing group until they come back to God's law. Regarding this, and I'm assuming when you say like ban, that you're in reference to Discord. I think there's a distinction here to be made. Like if someone comes into my home who's a submitter, but then they start, they kick my dog, they start yelling at my wife, they make a mess, and I say, bro, get out of my house, right? I might not be dismissing them as believers, but it doesn't mean that I want them within, the confines of my home. And I don't think that, the verse when it's talking about this, it means like, yeah, if a, someone who's quote unquote a submitter, that you allow them to, walk over you, take advantage of you, of the hospitality and this and that, and as if they can do that with impunity. That's my take. I think there's a distinction there in the sense it's not just because someone has bad behavior. I'm not going to say, hey, they're no longer a believer. But at the same time, if someone has bad behavior, I'm not just going to sit back and idly just say, okay, hey, there's nothing I can do because I consider the other party a believer.
So what you can do is
What do you think, Ibrahim?
Yes, I still see banning, even if one is misbehaving, we shouldn't ban him. But we can, just like you said, those on the neutral ground can always do the needful. You see, to reconcile, to fight against those who are guilty of any offense. But banning it will disunite us, will bring some kind of confusion among us. This is just what I want us to be careful, in doing.
I think
We
it's
have to be
it's
patient. We have to,
I think it's
to
it's
this
different,
quality.
right? So I think the issue is not shouldn't be beliefs ever to say, oh, you're gonna ban someone because of beliefs. I think if someone is engaged in criminal activity, that's different. It's not about their belief because someone can still be a believer but be engaged in dangerous criminal activity. Right? So if someone comes here and says, I believe in eating pork, that's dangerous, but I don't see that as a reason to just dismiss them. You know what I mean? Or like get rid of them. So, but it's different. But if someone's engaged in criminal behavior or criminal activity or has ties to criminals, that's different. Because
No,
then,
I'm not.
like Peter
I'm
said,
not looking at. I'm not looking at it in that angle. We all know that most of the submitters here are strong submitters. They believe in one God. They believe in all the commandments of God. But where we have some misunderstanding, and then one group begin to ban the others, that is what I'm talking about.
yeah, we don't have that
If
here. We don't have that. We never do that.
okay,
We
I'm just
never.
advising that we should
Yeah.
also have these qualities of these messengers of God who are not
Yeah,
quick to dismiss anybody.
No,
Inshallah.
we would never remove someone for belief alone. Absolutely
Okay,
not.
inshallah.
All
Okay,
right.
thank you.
So,
Yes,
peace
go
be
ahead.
upon you guys.
And
I thought maybe this is a good time to bring a specific example. Since I saw Hassan here, and he mentioned another session that he was being given an ultimatum to either leave another server or he will be banned because it was, I think, dude, you said that he is a cyber terrorism, something of that nature going on, because he's here, and I want that at least to be clear for me. Can someone elaborate on this, dude? You
Yeah,
please.
we can definitely talk about it, but let's talk about it after the Quran study. when we get into the community aspect. And yeah, no
Okay.
issues.
Assalamu alaikum. If I may, just wanted to ask Dude about a couple of points he made. For example, you gave an example of if you won't call somebody disbeliever, or but you would be careful of who you let into your home if they're not respectful in that sense. As that is understandable. Are you referring that to, for example, home like Discord to be your home, or is that the home of every submitters? That's one question. And then who actually decides what is a bad behavior and what is not? If both parties are, they declare themselves as submitters, who actually has basically right over the other or defines that? Because those are the things that it seems to, I'm 100% with you in that sense. I personally, if it's in my home, somebody comes in and they have bad behavior in my personal home, that I do understand. But the question is whether are you referring to Discord as your private place or not? Thank you. We can talk about it later on if you mentioned, as you
Yeah,
mentioned.
no, but I'll just referencing the example itself. Yeah, I mean the home is just an example, but let's expand this out to the masjid. We've had an incident where we invite someone to the masjid. The guy starts doing cartwheels and pulls out a knife, right? Like, what do we do? Do we just say, okay, hey guys, let's not dismiss him? It's like, no, we casually take the guy, we basically escort him out, and we don't allow him back in. If someone comes in and let's say they're a believer and they just start yelling, uh, just like to drown people out, like, you have to be kind of practical in that approach. So that's and again, we can talk more about this, but I was just using the house analogy. But
I can give also like a concrete, example of this, if I may. Can you guys hear me?
yeah, go for it, brother.
So there is a submitter who asked for loans in the community, right? And he got loans from multiple people, and then he was walking around, like spending money. And what do you do with this submitter? You just don't give him loans no more. It's that simple, Nothing to do with belief. He's just irresponsible when he comes in, and asks for money and never returns the money, right? So you don't loan him no money. That's very easy. Has nothing to do with his beliefs. It's just like this person is irresponsible. He can't return the money that he gets. So
May I make a quick comment on that as well, please?
Yeah, please.
Basically, the two, Discord being a home and behavior and bad behavior, I mean, all of that goes together. If the whole point is about of an orchestra, let's say you get a 30-piece orchestra, is that they would harmonize to play a piece of harmony. And that includes listening to one another, and in orchestration, positioning where you are and what you say and how that actually can contribute. You've got to be in sync with all that. If you go and listen, the example is everywhere. If you go and listen to a 30-piece orchestra without a conductor, everyone knows the piece, but there is no synchronized harmony. I mean, this whole point about that is about being in synchrony and harmony with God's word. And people may actually know their piece of music, but they're not in sync and harmony with everyone else. That is disturbing. And best example I can give is when you see someone who's actually playing out of sync with the orchestra, you'd hear it. It's actually quite disturbing to 30 other musicians who are in sync. So there is a purpose for that. And this is something that we can understand that. And it is something that a disbeliever, they would believe, and then they would come in there and cause that disharmony. That example of a good behavior and a bad behavior, we could actually notice by the way they conduct themselves, by the way they have harmony in your home, whether it be Discord or your private home. To me, it makes no difference. They know the piece of music, but
Thank
they're going to
you.
be disruptive. Thank you.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
Shalom alaikum, David
Peace
John.
be upon you, sister. Thanks. Go ahead. What
Shalom
you like to share
alaikum.
with us? Peace be upon you. God bless you.
I want to answer the brother who was asking about loaning the other submitter money and they disregarding. We have a verse in Quran. God is said, when you give them money, have a witness and write them down. Because when you do that, you take a witness, other people know about it. And if that guy or that lady is not trusty, the other, they know about it without being embarrassed and without other people being cheated on it too. Then that's why you have to mark the hand of the thief to other people not get by them either. Just because they say they are believer, and if they don't keep their promises, they ruin the rest of people. If they are in need of help, then you lose your trust. And the believer, they should trust each other, help each other. But you have to write it down. You have to have a witness. And this way, they cannot cheat each other. Thank you. God bless you.
Yeah, mashallah. And God even says to lay out the terms and then even then though God says that if they cannot pay it back, to wait for a better time, and then if you give it up as a charity, it's better. So God encourages that kind of patience and yeah, that kind of approach. I wanted to share, yeah, I mean, I agree that it's a beautiful thing to have a harmony and synchrony, and I think we all want that. At the same time, this this is Discord, and it's a public server, and I think in terms of specifics, I agreed to talk about it after the Quran study. But I just wanted to, in context of the study, I just wanted to share this verse as a kind of a general discussion on the topic that God does set this boundary for us in 9:17 that the home is one thing. Of course, that's when it's being treated as a home. Of course, if we turn our homes into masjids, I think that's again a different responsibility then. And then when it's talking, in regards to the masjids, we have 9:17 that says, the idol worshippers are not to frequent the masjids of God while confessing their disbelief. These have nullified their works and they will abide forever in hell. So this is the kind of thing that we don't want to allow to happen, where idol worshippers are coming frequently and they're preaching basically like their message. They're spreading their disbelief. So that's I wanted to share that. Thanks.
I think there is a disconnect here. The question wasn't about the idol worshiper. The question was about submitters, where there are. So God gives us eyes, ears, and mind to understand and examine everything, and individually ask us to read the Quran and understand it. Read it carefully. It mentions it like that. In practicality, in the real world, when you look at it, the only group of religious people that actually read the Quran, that they are responsible and they take that serious, is submitters. Submitters you can't call yourself, or you could, I guess, submitters if you actually not reading the Quran, because that's the whole difference between submitter and religious Islamic countries is mainly because they listen to one or two people, they don't read, they don't do their own due diligence. So in reality, in practicality, what happens, you have let's say 1,000 submitter, you have at least 500 different understanding in, not as a main things, in a smaller parts, the differences that shows, because God encourages that. And I think this is the reason that God also gives the command that, the minimum that you have to have in common, believing in God alone, believing the judgment day, and be a righteous person. Now, that's the minimum we have to share in order to be submitted to God. As a matter of fact, I was just listening to Rashad in the morning, and this is in a khutbah in his masjid towards the submitters that he mentions that. And he says, believing in these three is the minimum under any banner. And then he names them. The Jewish, Christians, converts, Muslims, he brings it all up like under any banner. So if this is the minimum that we have to have shared to create a space where every one of us would call that home, in this case, for example, this court or a masjid, it's the home to you, is home to next submitter, as well as I am entitled to that as well. Now, the question is, when the differences cause friction, how would one goes about distinguish, or even though the other person says, I am a believer, these are, I have, as far as you're concerned, I have covered the minimum plus 99% of every subject in the Quran, we have the same understanding. Now, who would come and say, okay, no, the other person is disbeliever, therefore all what you guys saying applies to it. It causes disharmony if it's a disbeliever. Who defines that? Who has the right to define? That's basically what I was going. Otherwise, obviously, a disbeliever creates disharmony. A disbeliever that gets the loan and doesn't pay back shouldn't be given more loans. But the question was, who decides that person is disbeliever, and what action against them should be taken as well? That was the thing.
Brother, we never said that the person is a disbeliever. It was just an example.
Okay,
it was just an example.
Thank
Like,
you.
for example, the person who takes loans and never repays them shouldn't be given a loan,
Okay, got it.
Again, he can still be a believer, but like removing that ability to ask people for loans while he has loans on top of loans, then, like, this is what we're talking about here. It's not about calling this person and removing him from
I guess you
from
talk.
the congregation. You know what I mean?
Yes, I was asking
All right.
the dude about that.
Yeah, we'll answer those questions, God willing. Maybe, yeah, God bless you. Thank you so much. We'll answer these questions. They're really good questions, but we want to stick to the verses for now. Does anyone have any questions about the verses we read? Chapter 11, verse 20 through verse 30. Anyone have any questions about these verses?
I'm just wondering. Hi everyone, peace be upon you.
Peace be upon you.
For I think it was 1128, from what I recall. It's just the phrasing, solid proofs. I really do wonder, like, how do we, as sort of believers, as readers of the Quran, how do we identify what is a solid proof? Because Homi mentioned earlier how it also constitutes some kind of a belief in the unseen. So there needs to be some kind of leap of faith in order to accept the messenger and the miracle that they bring. So I do struggle with this, because it's like solid proof suggests that there is something out there that is some, I don't know, like you can observe, it's maybe empirically verifiable, but at the same time you need to have some kind of leap of faith. And then how do we reconcile these two things, especially now when you can have, I mean, I remember in one of the Quran studies, just was it 2 weeks ago, you had someone claiming to be a messenger, and they said their proof was their ability to, I don't know, like harmonize the religion, and yeah, so where do we draw the line, really?
So I don't know if I can completely answer this question on my own, but I think a good starting point would be Surah 2, verse 55 through 57, right? It's subtitled Physical Evidence. Recall that you said, "O Moses, we will not believe unless we see God physically. Consequently, the lightning struck you as you looked. We then revived you after you had died, that you may be appreciative. We shaded you with clouds in Sinai and sent down to you manna and quails. Eat from the good things we provided for you. They did not hurt us by rebelling, they only hurt their own souls." And then footnote, it is noteworthy that the word God in this verse is the 19th occurrence. And this is the verse where the people demanded physical evidence. The Quran's mathematical code, based on the number 19, provides such physical evidence. Note also that 2 plus 55 equals 57, which is 19 times 3. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think people asking for physical evidence happens more frequently than you think. Moses asked to see God, right? And God was manifesting on the mountain. The mountain could not handle it, and Moses fainted. And I believe Abraham also asked for physical evidence. He asked to see the way he revives the dead, right? Just to reassure his heart, right? And even if the messengers and the prophets of God themselves wanted some level of certainty, it's not a stretch to think that God would provide us with the same benefit. Right, and God does plan on drawing the line. He does say that He's not going to force us to believe. He gives us just enough proof to believe, while leaving enough room to doubt. Right, this is what I've seen, at least. Anyone else want to take a swing at this?
I just want to say that any proof is observable and it is solid, right? So, for example, Jesus, he by God's leave, he revives the dead. So that is empirically shown. That person was dead. They're not alive anymore. They're demonstrably dead, right? And then you can measure that. You can measure that, okay, this person is no longer alive. His body's not breathing or whatever, right? And then he brings them to life by God's leave. So God's proofs, when it comes to the messengers, I believe are solid proofs. They're not flimsy proofs. So if someone comes here and says, I made you guys nicer to each other, and that's my proof, that's not an empirical proof. There's nothing to do there. Or someone comes and says, oh, my proof is that the Quran exists. Or my proof, these kinds of like strange, statements that we hear from these messengers. Also, we have a lot of messengers that they're trying to play with mathematics. They use code 19. They come here and they'll say, my proof is that, they'll take some random verse and then they'll take the geometrical value of the name and they'll get multiples of 19s and very different methodologies. That's not really, proof. So we can examine all of the, claimants. We've had dozens of claimants either here or on different platforms in the last few years. But basically, a messenger of God would have solid proof. It would be out of the ordinary and measurable.
Hey, I would like to add a comment to that.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, whenever the brothers and sisters out there, that God always reminds us that in Surah 2 that in our hearts is a disease, and God has increased their disease because of their disbelief. Whenever they're trying to argue and refute the miracle of the Quran and the number 19 and everything that the messenger of the covenant has revealed to us, all they're trying to do is just hold on to their hadiths. They're trying to fight for their idol. Are you coming in?
Miss Rose, are you trying to speak?
I think she stepped away from her phone or mic, whatever, and she's asking if the dog or something is trying to come in. Anyway, does that answer your question, Miss Nohela?
But yeah,
I
so
think it was Miss New.
what it sounds like, God gives us enough proof, but it's like there is some room for doubt, so that we can sort of believe in the unseen.
I don't know about that. I mean, honestly, I'm not sure. Is that what you
Because
say?
we spoke very recently in one of the VC conversations about was it Salih's miracle and the she camel.
Yeah, the camel.
That
Yeah,
was
so like,
that was
so
that was
regular camels. Yeah, let me address this. So regular camels would probably drink any day of the week. There's no preference. This camel, and I'm just using a day of the week as an example, only drinks on Tuesdays, right? And that's miraculous because the camel shouldn't know what day of the week it is, especially because days of the week are arbitrary. We chose them. They're human fabrications. There is no inherent need. There is no inherent reason for Tuesday to be Tuesday, right? Or the week to only be 7 days. That's a human invention. So for the camel to abide by that is miraculous. And that's a solid proof. Does that make sense?
I could chime in.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, there's always I put it in reverse 57:25, right? Meaning God always allows a wiggle room in the sense that if someone wants to disbelieve, they'll have some, justification, no matter how minute. So in 57:25 says, "We sent our messengers supported by clear proofs, and we sent down to them the scripture and the law, that the people may uphold justice. And we sent down the iron wherein there is strength and many benefits for the people. All this in order for God to distinguish those who would support him and his messengers on faith. God is powerful, almighty." I mean, they show you everything you need in order to have that, confidence. But that last iota of a jump, you have to make yourself. Right? God is going to come short of manifesting himself to the people. He's going to give you all the evidence, all the arguments, all the proof for you to make that next, logical conclusion. And that's where it comes down to. It's like, are you willing to make that jump? When Abraham comes, he destroys these idols and he says the big one did it. It's at that moment, that dissonance that kicks in, that should be proof enough for them that they're on the wrong path. Yet, they reverted. They said, "Oh no, obviously the big one didn't do it. You did this, right?" And that was their justification. That became their carve out to allow them to continue down that path. And this is always the case, right? If you look at the example of Salah, what disturbed them so much was the fact that they knew that this camel each day it's basically reinforcing Salah's message, and their response to that is, "Hey, let's just kill this camel and be done with it. We don't have to deal with it anymore," right? And by doing that, they confirm that yes, they acknowledged that this was disturbing to them. What's fascinating is if you read Surah 74, verse 31, it tells us exactly what a miracle does. That it's going to increase the faith of the faithful, to remove all traces of doubt from the hearts of Christians, Jews, as well as the believer, and to expose those who harbor doubts in their hearts, right? And it's going to disturb the disbelievers. This is what a miracle does. This is what a proof does. Depending on which outcome we take from that is going to determine whether we're a believer or a disbeliever.
I think Sister Rose was trying to make a comment.
May I make a short
sorry.
comment after?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You go first.
Please just homie. Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to mention to Sister Noah that doubts are natural part of believing. A doubt of a believer does not equate with unbelief. Now, God says in 47:20, those who believed said, "When will a new surah be revealed?" But when a straightforward surah was revealed, wherein fighting was mentioned, you would see those who harbor doubts in their hearts. These are believers God's talking about. And as Brother AAA and Brother Dude were pointing out, messengers would have had doubts. So if you have doubt, I mean that's part of the trick within oneself. You have belief. Doubt is a natural part of it. It doesn't mean you become a disbeliever. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sister Rose. Go ahead, please.
So, one thing I wanted to point out, we always talk about things like, if you were around, like in the time of, let's say Noah, and you saw the miracle, and then you were like Moses, and you saw the miracles, and you still didn't believe, your punishment's probably going to be way harder because it's the miracles right in front of your eyes. It's not like something you hear a story about, so on and so forth. So I think it's very important that we realize that we have been given the ultimate miracle of the Quran, and that we cannot leave all this room. We are going to be held to a much higher standard. We're going to be held to a much higher accountability because we are in the age that the miracle has been delivered. It's in front of our eyes. So if we turn away and we are disbelievers in this time when we have the miracle now, I think we really need to reconsider and be very careful about the steps that we make. So I just wanted to point that out.
I wanted to add something. So some good comments were made. I want to highlight a few things as well that, when it's from God, it's a solid proof. So it's something that's not like, maybe not. It's clear. And so, for instance, the math miracle, it's not just, one verse, one thing. It's encompassing the whole Quran. There's the letters that that start 29 of the surahs. There's the aspect of keywords being multiples of 19, including the name of God. There's just so many aspects when one studies it, one really sees, like if one has that sincerity and wants to be guided, one really sees, it boggles the mind. It's a miracle. No human being could have kept track of all this. So I think that at the same time, it's a journey and it can take time. So I think it's just good to ask God for guidance, for reassurance. Like mashallah was said, messengers have also, Abraham even asked for that, and allow time to become, for things to become clear. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to make also a quick announcement. I'm gonna share the link for next week's Quran study. If you could just take a moment and click interested on that. We were a little lacking on sign-ups this week compared to the previous 2 weeks. Even though we've had praise God about 70 people in the Quran study today, but for whatever reason, we just didn't have as many signups. If you just take a moment and tap interested on that, you should get a check mark. That link for that is shared in VC1-chat. Thank you very much. And then before we continue, was there any, I know we're at the hour mark, we're just past the hour mark. I guess, yeah, was there any mini announcements or anything we wanted to make? Was somebody trying to talk?
No, I just wanted to make a comment
Yeah, I
on
want to make an announcement
the
too.
topic we just had. So one thing to recognize is the Quran calls even natural phenomena like the birds in the sky as sufficient proofs, right, for people who understand, for the believers, for the knowledgeable, right? So among the proofs is like verse 30:23 is you sleeping during the night, right? That's also a proof, right? So the idea is the Quran is giving proofs in natural phenomena, right? But that's not the same kind of proof as angels coming down and you seeing God directly, because in verse 6, 8 to 10, it says if angels come down, then the matter will be terminated. That means you saw too much, like the test is over, right? And actually, I think I should also put a footnote there. So the idea is they're only proofs for the believers, but like there is sufficient vagueness for disbelievers so that they're not going to recognize these things as proofs, right? And in the Quran, like, you know, like even though the Quran provided them evidence of the resurrection, where it was like, look, rain falls down and dead land is revived, right? That is enough of a sign for you, an ayah, a miracle for you, a proof for you, right? To recognize that the resurrection is a thing. Their response is bring back our forefathers, right? So for the disbelievers, it's not a proof, but for the believers, it is a proof, right? So like you know, like verse 26:8 says this should be a sufficient proof, but most of them are not believers. So like it is enough to recognize, okay, so God does allow a resurrection. Here's a sign of it: the fact that plants come back with rain, right? So these things are proofs for the believers, but like to take it to a level where to think that all miracles have to be like so clear that even disbelievers will understand them, that's just wrong. The miracles have to be vague enough for the disbelievers to be like, no, there's no miracle there, right? So actually verse 26:3 to 9 actually goes through this.
Assalamu alaikum. Can I make a quick announcement?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to announce that I'm collecting money for a brother, Aman from Kazakhstan. If anybody wants to donate, you can private message me. You can donate through PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle. And I just wanted to quickly explain what I'm collecting for. So just some part of the money, like around $300 to help him pay off his bills. And at this moment, he's looking for another job. And also I discussed with him for an option of getting a driving license and work earning extra money by doing like being a delivery driver. So for that, he needs to go to the driving school, and that would cost around $250. So if anybody wants to help out with that too, that way, you know, if he has a driving license, there's more options for him getting a job, like a better paid job. So if you guys are interested in helping out, please message me. Thank you. God bless you.
May I add a little bit to Brother McClinton's idea, please? There is something miraculous happens in here with God's proof, and it's extremely important. When God gives you solid proof, now Brother McLean said, you know, the proofs come, for example, when it says God says that when the birds fly on two wings, that should be a proof. But there is a relationship between that proof and miracle. When he says God's that there should be enough proof, you know, 1,500 years later, that is actually miraculous, because Muhammad, the messenger, had no idea what that means from shape of the wing. Now, even furthermore, we see more to what God says, which his proof becomes a miracle, because now quantum mechanics is saying it is really not the shape, it's the quantum structure interaction with air through gravity, and the subject that allows that lift. And they elaborately show is you know, part of an aspect of a quantum field. So when God says these are my proofs, inevitably is a connection with miracle. God's proofs are miracles.
Thank you very much.
I think we just had this conversation the other day about subjective and objective proofs. We had this huge conversation, Brother Homie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I think that's really good. I think it's a combination for someone to become a believer, right? They witness, you know, personal issue, like, so they see the proof of submission, code 19, obviously God and stuff in the broader sense, right? And then I guess for a lot of people, it coincides with subjective observations as well. I know it was the case for me, for example. So I witnessed Code 19. I already believed in Code 19. I accepted it. But then in my subjective experience of the world, I would witness, multiples of 19 over and over again. That's subjective. That's not measurable, right? But it was a sign for me to bring me back to what I already had believed in Code 19 Quran submission, right? So I think they can go hand in hand. They help to get closer to God and to embrace the religion. But I still hold this position that Code 19 is observable, measurable, and it's the ultimate miracle. We were talking about this last night. Said, look, like Peter's saying, look, if someone wants to make excuses to reject a miracle from God, they can. I had brought something like this to a university professor about Code 19. One of the responses was, look, there's infinite universes in the world. So we're going to be in one of them. Eventually, ultimately, one of them is going to have a book in it that's going to be coded based on number 19, but that doesn't mean that it's a miracle. It just means that because there's infinite possibilities, we're going to be able to, it's possible. So everything that's possible is guaranteed to take place. So we happen to be in the universe that this exists in. Right. So there you go. So there's another kind of cop-out answer to evade acknowledging the ultimate miracle.
Would it be correct or incorrect for me to make the observation that the Code 19 miracle is sort of quite distinct, or it deviates from the previous traditional Quranic miracles, because it does rely on this a mathematical analysis, the statistical analysis, whereas previous miracles seem to be more supernatural in that sense. And do you think that maybe that is deliberate?
I would say it has to be deliberate, because in this day and age we have so much technology that it's people could easily explain something away. Like, we have all these magicians that do all of these things that are just supernatural. So it has to be more in line with the technological era that we live in order for people to actually believe it.
Mm-hmm. Using the scientific inquiry.
God says in the Quran that we stop studying the old kinds of miracles, right? Right now, witnessing David Blaine would probably be more impressive to the people of Saleh than Saleh's camel. So the current miracle has to have two minimum requirements. It needs to be, just one last comment. It needs to be universal. It needs to be perpetual, and it needs to be universal. Code 19 is perpetual because it's witnessable by all people at all times, anywhere in the world. And it's universal because it's not limited to a specific, it's numerical in nature. And so that numerical is a universal language accessible to all people, anywhere. This is why it's the ultimate miracle. It's higher than all the other previous miracles combined. I'm so sorry. Peace be upon you, brother. Elham, go ahead.
On you. I don't know, man. I would even maybe argue that all of God's miracles require statistics of probability. I mean, here you have, Saleh and the people of the camel. What is the likelihood of this camel happening to drink this day at this time consistently, et cetera, et cetera? It's, is it a coincidence? Is it just by chance that this happened that we would, or is there something else? Or is there a better answer here that, there's a divine intervention here, like this is from God? Same thing with, maybe even when Moses said, throw the piece of heifer at the dead body. You know what I mean? Oh, was it that he just, his heart stopped for a bit and he happened to spring back to life just at that exact same time? Or is there something else going on here? I would say a lot of it is quote unquote probabilistic knowledge, because a lot of people would dismiss it as magic or tricks or this or that. And they dismiss it as these various things. But is it that it's a coincidence or magic, or is it more likely that there's something else going on here? I don't know. That's how I kind of look at things.
There is,
to be honest.
May I just say something to that, and also reference to Sister Noah's question. the point of this miracle, that there is an intelligence behind that creation. Otherwise, it becomes random. Otherwise, you cannot tell what is random. Now we understand the structure of DNA is not a random structure, right? A probability of, and it is completely the same as the miracle, the mathematical miracle of the Quran, because you've got, 7,000 verses, and you start looking at how the probability of one number 19 occurring, that particular structure occurring in one surah by itself, probabilistically, would be 1 out of 7,000. But when you start going in there and seeing there is 19 sets of 19 verses, and when you times all of those things, you end up with, the process of calculating exactly will be a huge number. It'd be like 10 to the 30, 10 to the 40. And the probability of that is like finding a particular marked sand on the entire Earth. And is that exactly the same as coding of DNA, right? So you get 4 bases, amino acid bases. And the point is that a functional protein has would have to have 100, at least 150 bases to be able to fold and function. But the probability of that occurring in the universe by itself and be functional is 10 to the 150, which is more than the molecules that exist in the entire universe. That implication is the intelligence behind that implication makes it completely non-random. That is the miracle. So it can't be just random, possibly happening, possibly not happening. A close look at it, you realize that whole definition is that is intelligence behind it. And there is no intelligence behind that. There are sets of rules of physics. And you can actually calculate that random probabilistic occurring to something. But as I said, when it comes to coding, which when God uses the code, and then we use that code in genetics, it becomes, you just have to see that it wouldn't occur unless there is an intelligence behind that creation. That is the difference between random and intelligence. Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you very much. And since we have you here, we just want to make an announcement. Brother Homie is going to host. If you enjoy listening to Brother Homie, you're in for a treat, because Brother Homie has a lecture coming up. I put it in the chat, VC1-chat, Tuesday, February 27th at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. 43 people are signed up to listen to Brother Homie talking about RRC, Raising Righteous Children. So, this is the, yeah.
Hey, Nabi,
Yeah.
did you bring up, you posted it, but I don't know, did you bring up the other event, the next week's Quran study, to sign up?
I did invite everyone to sign up to next week's Quran study. 23 people have signed up. Thank you very much. Yeah, so and you just signed up because you get the check mark. And also I wanted to welcome Sister Noha and Sister Rose. She's a great person to have here. God bless you, Rose. Thank you so much for helping and joining today's study. Did we have any other did you have any other announcements, Peter? Before we continue?
Yeah, just kind of some updates. And then if we're moving to the kind of open section, we can talk about the previous topic. So new video published now, fully with the slides, getting better traction, is the Prophet illiterate? And it goes through all the compilation of arguments we've collected throughout the years to show that, look, definitively, this is a fabrication, a later innovation that they attributed to the prophet to try to increase his claim of prophethood. But then, yeah, deconstructing each of these points and showing that in the Quran, there's no indication that he was incapable of reading or writing. So there's that. And then a number of new articles that came out. Let me just pull them up. So, where did it start? Let's think. Okay. So this is the latest one. So the first one is the Bible, Jesus and the Law. It's a deconstruction of looking at how Jesus was preaching to follow the law, and it's Paul who later came up with this theology to abandon the law. That was the first article, and then there's another article regarding Jesus in cathedrals. That if Jesus was alive today, what would be his take based on cathedrals, from what we can tell from his comments in the Bible. And spoiler, I don't think he'd be in favor of cathedrals. Needless to say, idol worship aside, just the fact of what he was preaching versus what people, did with the his teachings. The other one is a look at basically there's 3 words in the Quran for reciting or reading: utalu, ratil, and ikra, and what are the differences between those 3 words. And 3 other articles. One is Christians struggle with monotheism. Why, like early Christians, I call them pagan Christians. They had a struggle for about 300-400 years on how to reconcile their understanding with monotheism. This was a major challenge for them. And then last night, 2 other articles. One is this concept. It's taking apart all the verses regarding intercession, shafa in the Quran, and showing that basically to think that anyone other than God is going to intercede on our behalf is idol worship. And then lastly, someone sent a video to me last night asking me if I can address it. Someone has this video saying that Surah 43 verse 45 is illogical. And what's funny is I don't want to. I mean, it's really silly. So here's the verse. But I thought this was too funny, and the guy has like 4,000 views on the video. It says, "Check the messengers we sent before you. Have we ever appointed any other gods beside the Most Gracious to be worshipped?" And this is like an educated guy, and he was saying, "This is illogical. Why would the prophet be asked to check?" Have we ever appointed any other god beside the Most Gracious to be worshipped, because the Quran preaches strict monotheism? So he was saying that this verse doesn't make any sense on that grounds. So that's all I got.
Thank you very much. Shifting into the other topic, praise God, we averted a cyber terrorist attack on the submission server. So there is another server that's dedicated. It's called Sunnah Shield, and it's a Sunnis and other cyber terrorists gathered. And one of the main reasons, it used to be called True Submission, and one of the main reasons of existence is to fight submission every day. So they were plotting a cyber terrorist attack against the submission server. We increased our security, and we have not been harmed or destroyed by God's will. Thank God. And it's very common on Discord, unfortunately. Servers get destroyed due to cyber terrorism. The largest Quranist server, for example, was destroyed a couple weeks ago. It had about 1,000 members, almost 2 years old, and it got infiltrated by the Sunni terrorists and got destroyed. So one of the reasons we did decrease our moderation team on the submission server is because of the increased threat of cyber security and cyber terrorism. And this topic that was brought up by Brother Amin and Brother Hassan, I guess Brother Ibrahim too, part of the issue is criminal activity and cyber security. And so Brother Hassan, unfortunately, is involved in a moderation role on a different server that is compromised or that is tolerating, involved with, or unwilling or unable to deal with the cyber terrorists. And we cannot have any risk or association or affiliation with anyone that is involved in criminal activity, directly or indirectly. So this is really a core issue. And these are people that wish us harm. They dox us, threaten our families, expose our private lives, personal lives, and just all kinds of horrible things. And many submitters are either unwilling or unable to take any action against the ongoing cyber terrorism that's going on Discord. So we had no choice but to take a firm stance on this topic. Brother Peter, if you want to elaborate on this more, I would appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, look, I gave a simple ultimatum, and it's not that it didn't come, without previous conversation. I said, look, there's a server that they said intentionally, hey, the function of the server is just to, have like a quote unquote safe space, talk crypto, whatnot. And honestly, it doesn't matter what the function is. And I just asked, I said, look, just if you don't mind, let's not make it a place where we're just housing people who genuinely want to harm us and, do the server, like take it down, right? Nuke it. And they said, no. And it's like, okay, then we're seeing it's like perpetually day in, day out, people on the server are being slandered. They're being false allegations are being made against them. They're being doxxed. And for people who aren't aware, that's basically where you show like their phone number, their face, the pictures, personal information about people, and just perpetual insults. And I simply asked, I said, hey, look, if you're a mod there, at a minimum, I mean, these are things that go against Discord's terms of service. Like Discord does not permit doxing. I mean, even Twitter, which is considered the most free speech platform, if someone doxes, they basically get the post taken down. But on that platform, not only did they not take it down, or on that server, they actually giggle and laugh about it, right? And to me, it's like, look, that's just unacceptable. And when we addressed this the previous week, the person was kind of claiming that, hey, they have this grand plan, we have to trust them. And I said, well, look, what's the expression? We trust in God. Everyone else has to provide evidence, right? And in this case, they were showing zero kind of concern in that sense. So I just told them up front, I said, look, anyone who's an officer on that server, I hold them responsible. But if they're not removing posts where it's doxing people, slandering people, false accusations, and these are like the most heinous accusations by literally people who want to take down submission, that, we're not going to allow them onto this server, because all they're doing is they're basically trying to draw people there, and then kind of having them contribute to what I consider is just like, terrible actions. And it says in the Quran, anyone who mediates a good deed is going to receive a share of the credit thereof. Anyone who mediates a bad deed receives a share of the credit thereof. I can't fault anyone for being there if they choose to, but I can fault those who are, have the authority to do something about it.
And I think it's important to note that the criminal activity or criminal affiliations and tolerance is totally separate from belief issues, which we can
I don't know
even
if
talk
anyone
about
else.
that.
Hassan,
Yeah.
is he still here? Or he left?
Can you hear me, Peter?
Oh, he's still here.
Can you hear me,
So,
Peter?
Hassan,
Yeah, can you
I know
hear me?
Ibrahim brought this up.
Hey,
If
can
anyone else
anybody
wants
hear
to,
me? Yeah, did Peter
add
hear me?
anything to this,
Hello?
I can hear you,
Yes, by all means.
Brother Navid. I
Yeah,
can hear you.
yeah, Peter,
I don't
Peter,
think I don't think Peter can hear you.
yeah, Peter, can you reconnect? Or who else can hear me?
I can hear you.
We can
Oh,
hear
okay.
you.
Peter,
We can all hear you,
bro.
Navid was talking. I don't think you could hear him.
Yeah, so I think Peter, are you here?
He's muted.
Peter, yeah, okay. So I just wanted to point out that, again, we're just talking about criminal, like right now in this conversation, we're talking about criminal related activity or criminals or cyber terrorism and stuff like that. We're not even talking about religious issues, which are many, right? We're talking about people that over there that created fake audios of the messenger, preach against the messenger, striving against the messenger, really bad activity that's going on in terms of within submission, intolerance, abusing the believers, muting, banning, or I guess timing out and taking oppressive actions towards submitters, but enhancing the terrorists that come here.
All right.
One of the people in particular, we banned 118 accounts. This person's been banned for pretty much breaking all server rules and classifying as a cyber terrorist. They're involved and the Sunni Shield Project, which they openly boast about their cyber terrorism videos, and they put ISIS music or ISIS what they call nasheeds as they're carrying out these cyber terrorism operations on Discord or whatever other platform. So we cannot tolerate any of this. So unfortunately, Brother Hassan, we asked you, I guess Peter asked you to just sit down or get out of there or do whatever to get away from that, because and honestly, he's being more patient with others because others have already been banned for their affiliation with the terrorist link server. So yeah, go ahead, AAA, sorry.
Yeah. Hey, peace be upon you guys. Yeah. So the lowdown is that it's not about an ideological difference. It's about security. If the server was moderated more appropriately, if people that should be, banned for inappropriate behavior were banned or, timed out for a significant portion of time, or if the server was maintained appropriately, we wouldn't have as big of a problem. But as Brother Naveed has demonstrated and has explained, and Brother Peter has mentioned as well, because the moderation is what it is and the environment is what it is, we've decided to at least ban the moderating team until the server is cleaned up and acting appropriately. Everything's monitored appropriately, and God willing, if it gets if the situation is better in the future, we can revisit the issue and see if we can reconnect. Right? We all believe and hope that God will guide as many of us as we can, and we don't want to burn bridges if bridges can be repaired. So this is just for now thing. God willing, if it cleans up, we can talk about what happens in the future.
I think we
Thank you,
should all
brother.
take a second and thank the admins on this site, because we don't realize how hard they work to protect each and one of us just by being on this, from having our personal information put out there, and to keep Discord up so that we can actually have a place that we can meet with other submitters. So I just personally want to say thank you to Naveed and AAA and Peter and Abdullah. I know Abdullah's not here, just for just manning the post and doing what's right. And we really appreciate you, even if we don't say it enough.
God bless you, sister. God bless all of you. Thank you so much for your kind words. So, Brother Naveed, did you want to suggest the next
Yeah, I mean,
is it Peter?
Peter, can you hear me? Peter, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now. I apologize.
Yeah. I mean, one of the
internet
issues we have is like what like Sister Lisa is putting in the chat. There's just a disconnect, just totally indifferent towards the activity over there, but then calling us the real criminals and terrorists and stuff. I don't really, I don't even know how to address this. It's just such a disconnect from reality, and just misplaced outrage. I don't understand. Like, I'm just really struggling to comprehend this. But maybe you want to say something about this, Peter. Go ahead.
Yeah, just to really quick. This isn't meant to be, hey, they're banished, they're no longer considered submitters. Like, look, what can we do, right? We tried talking with them, we had conversations, we reached out, and it's one of these things where, again, they giggle about it, right? And if they change and they say, okay, look, we're gonna basically enforce no doxing, no blatant slandering, false accusations, then okay. And if the other piece is, if they claim that, hey, this is a free speech platform, then I have nothing to, I don't have a problem, but it's not. The aspect is when people from this server would go over there to argue these points, they would get muted, they would get deleted, they would get, timed out. So it shows that it's like, again, there's this, in my opinion, hypocritical kind of double standard. And, until things change, like, okay, this is kind of the stance. And again, if things clean up, they want to make amends, they, want to act fairly, then we'll let them back on the server.
Yeah. Brother Hassan, did you have any questions? Please go ahead. Yeah, Sister Lisa. Oh, go ahead, please.
Assalamu alaikum. First of all, I'm at work just in case people come in. I have to, if abruptly have to leave, you have to excuse me for that. But right now I can talk. There are a few issues from what I hear. Uh, I did receive this notation from a brother dude that given me the choice to leave that place. Let me see if I can read it out loud.
Yeah. So Hassan, it's not to leave. It's just look. If you're going to be a moderator there, my expectation is that you actually moderate. If you're, not going to, if you renounce your moderation, then I don't hold you responsible for the posts that are there. The ultimatum was, hey, renounce your moderation. You don't have to leave the server. You can stay there all you want.
When,
if you want to continue staying here.
I just want to add to this, like many brothers and sisters have been slandered and they don't even take action against the worst slander. Somebody was called a dog, prostitute. They're sharing their private information against submitters. The worst
right,
statements. And it's like, if you're a moderator there, you're responsible.
Okay.
You're a collective responsibility
Okay,
there.
am.
We're not even talking about, brother, we're not even talking, and we know, like, go ahead, sorry.
Brother, it's all right. Like, yeah. So he's just saying that you, Mr. Hassan, you can be on that server. If you are a moderator, though, we do have this policy, since the moderation is doing a poor job on that server, that the moderators from that server will not be welcome here until the moderation steps it up. That is why Brother Peter is letting you know that you can still be on that server as a non-mod.
Okay. One reason that I even went there before that, when it was talking about it was a private thing for Yusuf, and I wanted to learn about what you may call it, the token issue.
Cryptocurrency. You wanted to learn about cryptocurrency?
Yeah, that's how it shows how much I know about it. But anyhow, I wanted to learn, and I had visited there a few times and got some videos, audios from there until and I was mainly in Quran studies in submission. And when Yusuf as well as Sister Lisa they had problem with you and went over there, I just followed where the Quran studies was. Now you bring up so many things that I have not even come across, not once. I first of all, if it comes to cyber the attacks, first of all, I don't know who is actually there that is doing that or have done that, or I don't know anyone like that. And I am not, my question was, the reason you say through moderator, can they use my moderating position to attack here? Is that what, a lot of allegations are the first time I hear.
Okay. So let me clue you in, Brother Hassan. As a moderator, like the moderators here, for example, we have to sort of manage the server. It's not simply just telling people, hey, we're having to do this and we're doing this over here, or you can be part of the server. There's going to be people that constantly cause trouble on the server, against the server. Sometimes they'll even try to give you a launch a virus through you to take over your account and then ruin the server from the inside out.
So
right?
without me knowing,
without you even realizing, correct? Without you even realizing,
yes.
correct.
Brother Hassan, can I just say one thing, Brother Ibrahim? Sorry, can I just say one short thing, Brother Hassan? From your comments just now, I think that you're not even aware of any of what's going on. This is very concerning.
Okay, if you guys allow me to either talk to Dude, I received this from Dude. Honestly, when I received it in one way, Dude, I have been following you for more than 4 years. When I saw that, my first reaction, whether right, wrong, honestly, I don't want to even say it. I felt a dagger in my back. I was shaken. I just didn't even come here for a few days This is the first time I'm coming in today after receiving that. But but there is what you're saying, legitimate concern about cyber attack. These things I wasn't even aware of. These allegations I hear from Naveed, from this years come, it goes out from the, because I don't even want to be in the same. I have put that position clear, and this is not about Naveed, or I believe Naveed had created many personal enemies that they may be there. I don't listen to even those guys. I listen to when Quran studies there. They
Here, I
put
can
me
got
as
this.
mod.
Please,
Let
can
me
I
explain.
can I say something, please?
No, no, I'm not finished. When I went there for Quran studies, when this whole thing started happening, and they decided all organically. Today there was more. The next day it was a little more of Quran studies. They talk about Quran as well as the time. Some people that personal difficulties with Naveed, including myself. I come to that, including myself. We shared, but that's all. No one, I never heard of anyone planning to attack, or I actually saw more of Naveed coming over there, causing havoc than and even in this server, every time I come in, dude, when you're in there, I come in. When you're not there, while you are there, I've heard him saying a lot of things about the other channel as well. As far as
Peace be upon you, Brother Hassan. Can you be
that
brief,
going
please?
on here, just for those who are not aware, more of that is going on here than over there. That's my observation. But then again, I am there when we want to talk about Quran. When Lisa is there, when Yusuf is there, especially both of them, it's almost always talk about
Brother
Quran.
Hassan.
That's where
Brother
I'm there.
Hassan. God bless
One
you,
other
Brother
thing I
Hassan.
want to clear, one other thing. The same way I was mod here, they made me mod. It wasn't like planned. We gather, we say who wants to be a mod. I was first people there. The next day I open up, I'm a mod.
Yeah,
I
Brother
didn't.
Hassan. Yeah, Brother Hassan. Brother Hassan. God bless
Yes.
you. Look, we already know your situation. When that notification was given to you, we were already aware and understood that it was likely the role just happened to drop in your lap, right? The admins agreed unanimously to send the notification to all mods, right? So to be fair, we had to send you one too. We already figured, based on your current situation, that you would tell Yusuf you had stepped on anyways, right? But it was not intended to target you specifically. We did not want to target anyone specifically regarding this, right? So we were just treating all mods fairly and equally after the decision was made, right? So
No.
I don't believe Brother Peter had any ill will or ill feelings towards you, nor did he consider you some sort of enemy or threat, right?
Okay.
So it was not intentional. It was just being fair across the board.
Thank you for clearing that.
Peace be upon you, Brother Hassan, please.
Just
Let me say
one thing
something.
I want to
Brother
say.
Hassan,
No,
please.
brother, I know that you want.
Let me
I
just say
just want to clear
two
up
things,
few
please.
things.
I think that has been cleared. Brother Triple A has cleared that issue between you and Brother Dude. You didn't mean that, and maybe you misunderstood him, and I think this is clear, inshallah. I just want to say something, few things, I don't believe, maybe I'm not too sure, maybe if Brother Yusuf or Sister Lisa are part of those promoting this cybercrime. I don't think so. If they are, then I think
They are not.
hold on,
I
brother. Let me,
assure
Brother
you, they
Hassan,
are
let
not.
me finish. Please, let me finish what I'm trying to say. Sorry about that. What I do know is that, Alhamdulillah, we're having a day that we study the Quran together, and the Quran is the only thing that can unite all of us. We have to look inwards and see what God is teaching us. And how do we put all this in practice? We must preach what we say. We must, practice what we preach. And so if we have a problem in our home, the best thing we can do, and that was why when we are talking about dismissing the believers, messengers, if messengers could not dismiss anybody, then we cannot dismiss anybody. If we have a problem, we have a standard by the Quran. God wants us to unite ourselves. God wants us to bring ourselves no matter what. And whoever that is guilty, we face that person. Whoever. That is what God wants us to do. So what can we do to unite our family so that those in the other server will come back home and be united with us? This is my faith. This is what I want to say. What can we do to bring ourselves back to this one united, happy family? Happy, that is known all over the world. And we are always happy when we come together, studying together, laughing together. Yeah,
Okay.
that is my own.
The answer I have, total freedom for anyone to do anything they want, as long as that minimum requirement that God put in the book, the good book for us. Believe in God, believe in the judgment day, be a righteous person. That gets us all under one roof. Then you have to give everyone the freedom of understanding and the time it takes them to understand it. I mean, I hear it from the word, from mouth of Rashad. This morning, just I turn it back 2-3 times to listen whether it says that 3 requirement includes Muslims. And this is a conversation. It's a khutbah. It is to the parishioners of his mosque. And he's telling them, he didn't mention this is about outsiders who haven't received the Quran. It says this is the minimum requirement that makes you a submitter.
We're not talking about being submitters. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Hold on. Nabi John, I am talking to the 2-person, to everyone else except you. If you would please let me talk to clarify this.
Brother, go ahead, please. Go ahead. No, please do not do anything like that. Go ahead, please.
Basically, this is misunderstanding. Nobody have left anywhere. People have been kicked out. I consider this place, Submission Channel, to be my home, as much right to it that dude has or anyone else has. That's my home too.
Yeah,
and
so-
this
so-
is why it hurts to see it that way.
You know what hurts? Like, I'm telling you, when basically, again, you're being perpetually, like, if this was happening to you on this server, we wouldn't stand for 1 second, right? If someone starts posting private photos of you, making heinous accusations against you, slandering you, insulting you, I wouldn't tolerate it. But the thing is, like, look, I went on that server, right? Because I had the conversation with Yusuf like maybe 2 weeks ago. He laughed it off. He's saying that, hey, he's playing 4D chess. He didn't take it seriously. He continued, and he basically participates in the insults. I saw it for myself. And at that point, you say, okay, look, you're not taking heed. You're not taking this seriously. And I told him repeatedly that, look, if this was happening on our server, we wouldn't tolerate it for 1 second. So don't give me this thing where it's like, oh, I have this grandmaster plan, as he's kind of like just, laughing about it. And so at that point, it's like, okay, look, if you want to basically have this other server where that seems to be a primary function of it, we're not just going to sit back idly and let you basically just, act like you're not doing anything. If someone's coming and punching you in the face, right? And I say, hey, brother, stop that. And if you don't, I'm going to basically escort you out. I'm sorry. I can't say that person's at fault for escorting him out. He
Brother
had the choice.
Hassan,
He changed it today. Look, I'm going to basically enforce.
Hassan is using the argument from ignorance. Brother Hassan, it doesn't matter if you're ignorant or you're knowledgeable. You have no clue what's going on. I can bring you 15 people here that are each going to testify what's going on the server. Just because you close your eyes, you're unable to see. If you're unable to see things, that's your fault. That's not our fault.
I have been enough of time there while you.
No, I don't think you. I'm not sure you know. I'm
Can I
I'm
say
not
something,
sure.
brothers?
Yeah, I'm
Can I
not.
say
But I
something,
just want to say
brothers?
I'm not sure if Mr.
Okay.
Hassan even knows.
Yeah,
I'm
Brother
not
Naveed, Brother
With
Naveed,
all due
Brother Naveed.
respect,
talking.
Triple A,
Brother
can I
Hassan
just say
doesn't
this?
know what he. Brother
Triple
Hassan
A, I
doesn't
just
know
want to
what he's
say
saying.
this. I'm saying I'm not even sure if Mr. Hassan even knows how to check chat from Discord. I'm being honest. Like I don't
Okay,
know if
no,
he knows how to
stop
use
you.
this
Listen,
platform.
listen. If I say I'm not aware of it, don't start with insults and put down. I mean, this is one reason I don't want to be under the
Brother,
same
I don't think he
roof.
meant it that way, brother.
Okay.
He did not mean it that way. Mr. Naveed's
No,
trying to get to the point.
he means it that way, brother. He does
Can I say
mean it
something,
that
please?
way. It's,
Go ahead, Mr.
don't
Omar.
make excuses
Brother
for
Hassan,
him.
Brother Hassan, can I say something real quick?
Who is this?
This is Brother Omar. I don't think we've talked before, but I want to say something. I've been in that server, and with all due respect, I don't think you're seeing what's happening in the chats over there. I've been there
No, the chats, I don't go to
quite, brother, please, with all due
Yeah.
respect. I've been there multiple times, and I've seen many, Sunnis, Christians attacking submission, attacking our religion, and no action has been taking place over there. And the name of that server is Peaceful Religion, and there's
Please,
languages
don't
over there
advertise. Please don't advertise other servers, sir. Thank you so much.
and
He's using the title to prove a point.
And also, private information of our brothers and sisters are being released over there, Brother Hassan.
Okay.
With all due respect, brother.
Can I ask?
I'd like to say something, if possible.
Yeah, please.
I don't understand why would anyone want to be affiliated with a terrorist affiliated
Naveed,
server?
stop.
Hey, let's just
Naveed,
hey,
stop.
hey, if it's okay, can we have someone mod? Because it's getting too much. So can we have someone mod?
We're here.
I would do it myself, but
All right. I'll moderate. I'll moderate. Okay, I'm gonna moderate a minute at a time. All right. We have who's next right now?
Jerry. I think Jerry wanted to speak.
All
and he
right,
hasn't
Mr. Jerry. And did anyone want to go after Mr. Jerry?
I'd like to speak as well.
That is Fari. All right, Miss Fari, I got you. You have a minute, Mr. Jerry.
Okay, so I remember when I first got on Discord, I was actually at a conference and there was a young kid. He was like 14 or 15 years old. I could not figure out for the life of me even how to get onto it and find the submissions server. He helped me. He took my phone and he got me logged into it. I don't do anything on Discord except join this this server. And I don't do anything else because I know that this Discord server is like, it's high tech, big deal, right? I mean, there's bots. I mean, there's all kinds of things in this application that are way over my head. And I've been in the computer industry for 25 years, actually longer than that. But Brother Hassan, dude, you need to just kill your ego and make sure you get that moderator thing off your name. And quite frankly, I would not be busting around all these different servers if I was you. At our age, we just don't understand the things that can happen. They can trick you into anything. So please just do what our professional guys here are telling you to do. Remove yourself as a moderator and you'll be fine. That's all they're asking you to do. So that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Brother
Praise
Jerry.
be to God.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Sister Fari.
Can we allow? I don't know if Brother Jerry was done. Can we allow like at least like a couple of minutes for people to get their points across?
Okay, you want 2 minutes? You guys want 2 minutes?
No, he gave me a minute, and I thought that was enough, so I was fine.
You're okay. You're done. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Praise God. Okay.
Go ahead, Sister Fari.
Okay. Thank you. I think that so peace be upon you all, and I wanted to say, thank God first and foremost, and for the opportunities that He gives us, including Discord and everything that comes with it, the opportunities to study together and do everything that we do, like study, meditation, commemoration of God, the opportunities to strive. So thank God, and thank you all. I know there's a lot of time and effort that's put in. I think I'm guessing that people who are speaking, Brother Ibrahim that brought this up, and initially and others. I think we just want to see how we can do things better. That's good for our souls and also pleasing to God, and so we don't hurt our own souls and we don't hurt other submitters or other people in general. Alaikum salam, brother. So I think that's, inshallah, that's the spirit of it. And perhaps it would be good to have this conversation. Like, I know we tried this a little while ago where everybody's here so that, because when I've heard different things talking to other side. And so maybe there's misunderstandings, miscommunication, maybe there's some things that need to be clarified. Yeah, that's, and I have a little bit more to say, but if we're going by a minute, I guess I can get in line.
15 seconds left.
15
May I
seconds?
comment, please, inshallah?
Okay, so inshallah, then I'll use my 15 seconds if I have it. I don't know if it's gonna fit in 50. Okay, inshallah, I'll just get in line again.
Go ahead,
if you
I try to comment several times,
go ahead.
maybe I have some connection problem.
Yeah, can you let Brother Roger speak? He's been trying to talk. He's been having connection problems for like 15, 20 minutes. Please let him speak.
Brother Roger, you want to speak?
Okay, so I just want to mention regarding Brother Hassan, what he mentioned about Rashad's video, that there is about the 3 minimum requirements. In the same video, inshallah, if he listen carefully, he at the end mentioned that I'm talking about the people, for example, they're in the jungle or they have not received the Quran. So basically the 3 minimum requirement is for those people who have not received the Quran. If they receive the Quran, they have to believe the Quran and they have to follow it.
You are wrong. You're very wrong. I listened to
Can I, inshallah,
half an hour ago.
please
Just to
let me finish. Let me finish, inshallah. So I can share, inshallah, later the Quran study video that he mentioned once you receive the Quran, because this question I had myself. He clearly mentioned that this is for those who didn't receive the Quran. Once you receive the Quran, you have to hear, you have to obey, you have to follow it. Number two, he also mentioned that, there might be some people that 99% submitted, maybe 1% not. We all know that there is no middle path. Either we submit or no. So I hope all of us, inshallah, before we depart this world, we have to make sure that we submit a total submission. There is no 99% submission. Another thing I want to mention was about, for example, he mentioned that there are certain people who have completely different understanding, not completely, sorry, that they might have minor different understandings. So I want to, inshallah, mention to him as an example how these misunderstandings come up. One problem is that I saw some people who they put their understanding above God and his messenger. So not to go far away, he himself, we have video of Rashad, he said, this is an example. I didn't want to bring this up, but since he mentioned, I want to bring it up. Rashad mentioned that insurance is lack of trust in God. It is prohibited. Okay?
15 seconds, brother.
So God said, you shall not put your opinion above God and his messenger. He said, no, it's a blessing. So you see, this is how those misunderstandings come up when people try to put their own understanding above God and his messenger. He said, insurance is prohibited. You said, no, it's a blessing. You see, so this is my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Roger. Yes, Brother Hassan, I think you're next in line. Does anyone want to get in line behind Brother Hassan?
I think it's a good idea. 1 second. It's a good idea. The video is up. That's Dr. Rashad Khalifa, Friday sermons, end of the world. And that's on the minute. I mean, just talking out of memory, I have done that. That's why I go and verify now. You go to 8 minutes and you play that. From there on, it talks about it. It does clearly says in the khutbah to the submitters what is the minimum requirement, and it says for the Muslims as well.
And I just put the screenshot with the subtitle, the relevant portion. He says, I put the subtitles there. It says there's a difference between the knowledgeable person and an ignorant person. So like Brother Roger correctly said, when you gain more knowledge, you gain more responsibility. It sounds like you're saying that us here have the same level of responsibility as someone in the Amazon jungle. And that's just wrong. And I've seen a lot of people abuse the sermon.
Let's
Images in the
respect
chat. Thank you so
mod.
much. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, brother Hassan, I'm gonna restart your time. All right, go ahead. Let's let the people finish, and then if you want to refute or reply, just get in line. All right.
Look,
Go ahead, brother.
I didn't say I personally I am sorry. I am at work and I got people coming in. I gotta leave, but I rather to talk to Brother Du and a few people that we can. This is all in created by one or two people, and I will prove it to you. Now, about the cyber attacks, that I have no idea how it works and how whether even possible, and I didn't know about it. So if that's the reason and that's how they can use me to get in, not a problem. I have no issue with mod being a mod or not being a mod. It doesn't make any difference for me. But anyway, I am so sorry. I have to leave. Inshallah, I'll join back up.
God bless you, brother. Take care.
God bless you, Brother Hassan.
Sister Fari, was it?
Later, inshallah, I have a short comment.
Is it so, Sister Fari, and then was it Raju again, or who was the second person?
Yeah, this is me. After, if you allow me, I have a short comment.
No problem. I think was it
Maybe
Sister
me
Fari?
next after them.
After
I can
Raju, Mr.
comment.
Ibrahim? I understand. There was a lady before
Yeah.
Brother Raju.
Yeah, maybe I can let Brother Raju go first, and then I can go after him. Thanks.
Okay, so Raju,
Okay,
Fari, then Ibrahim. Gotcha.
So, inshallah. Just want to mention, this is the problem when people cherry pick from the audio video. This is what, I see them as a blessing. It's a lot of information. There is nothing. But unfortunately, sometimes some people cherry pick from the audio to prove the wrong understanding. Inshallah, I will find that Quran study, which people question Rashad. They said about the three minimum requirements. At the end of that Quran study, he clearly mentioned, no, I am referring to those who haven't received the Quran. Because people were saying, no, so this is enough. They don't need to believe in the scripture. They don't need to do. So basically, once you don't receive the scripture, there are so many fasting is not, there's so many stuff. He clarified, no, I'm referring to those people who didn't receive the Quran. So this is the problem right now. We see that when people cherry pick from the audio videos without, paying attention or reading the Quran carefully. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Sister Fari?
Thank you. Yeah, so on this topic, I wanted to chime in as well. So first of all, I think Dr. Khalifa, we want to follow his example, and he referred back to the Quran, and he used the verses of the Quran. It's a blessing, like it was said, that he's explained things to us. And so when we look at the Quran, we see that there's 49, 14, and 15, that there is a distinction. There's different levels of faith and righteousness. So there's submitter and there's momen, believer, and in between there's a journey. So 49:15 says moments, believers are those who believe in God and his messenger, then attain the status of having no doubt whatsoever and strive with their money and their lives in the cause of God. Whereas submitters, they haven't reached that point. And we know that 262, 569, the subtitle for at least one of them is Unity of All Submitters, and that they're going to make it. So that's adequate by God's grace. So 262 is subtitled by Dr. Khalifa as Unity of All Submitters. And it says, those who fulfill this criteria, they have nothing to fear, nor will they grieve. And it says, anyone who has this. I've also watched a lot of the videos by God's grace. And, I see in the studies as well, people watch the videos and reach different conclusions. So we all need to listen, they're blessings. We can listen, verify for ourselves. Our source of guidance and law, though, is the Quran.
15 seconds.
Based on thanks. Based on 6:114 and 115. I also had comments on this issue, community issue. So if you can put me in line again for later, thanks.
No problem, Sister Fari.
Can you
Brother,
put me on the list also Triple
So
A? Thank you
let's
so
have
much.
Elham go before Sister Fari. Sister Fari, you'll be behind Elham. And I think it's Brother Ibrahim next.
Yeah, no, I just want to kind of
Hey,
reiterate
Brother
what
Elham, was it not
yeah,
Brother
can you hear
Ibrahim?
me?
I think it's Brother
Yes.
Ibrahim. This.
No, it's
Oh, thanks,
what about
Elham, then.
Raju?
Okay, my
You
bad.
missed Raju.
No, Rogers just
It's okay.
spoke. I let him speak before me.
So Raju spoke
I
first,
don't.
then Fari, and now is it Brother Ibrahim or Brother Ibrahim did not sign up as Brother Elham?
I don't
Okay.
care. I don't care who wants to go next. Just put me in the list.
Go
That's
ahead.
whenever it's
Go ahead,
fine for me.
brother. Go ahead. You have.
Go ahead, brother.
I will talk after you, brother.
Well, it's very kind of you, man. Thank you so much. No, I just wanted to kind of second what Brother Raju is saying. Right? It's like we hear from some people. It's not to call anybody else. Just I'm noticing this. Like people with a certain paradigm, they say, "Hey, we need to use Quran as our only source," and I hear this a lot. I just keep hearing. I'm just noticing patterns, guys. That's all I'm trying to say. Is that I'm noticing this rhetoric that we need to use the Quran as our only source. But then, ironically, when it comes to like the messenger's teachings, there seems to be, like Brother Raju said, this kind of like picking and choosing aspect, right? It's just getting me a little bit confused there. With regards to like what is a submitter, I mean God's pretty clear in terms of like who's a submitter. He has very strict definitions of who is a submitter. Now, God is setting the standard, right? God says, "Hey, a submitter for a true believer does not reject any of God's revelations." Right? So if anybody is rejecting a revelation from God, I'm sorry, according to God in the Quran, they don't meet this fold in submission, right? And then you have Rashad talking about these things too. And here's the thing is, this is not like, how do I put it? I feel like people think like we're sitting here and we're trying to gatekeep heaven and things like this. Nobody's trying to gatekeep heaven. We're just trying to uphold the standards that God himself sets in the Quran. And God is pretty clear. He's pretty strict with his standards in terms of his expectations. Now, where everyone falls in that spectrum, whether God forgives them, whether God grants them lower heaven, whether God grants them purgatory, is up to God. But as far as the standards or the expectations by God, they're pretty clearly defined. And I feel like these things keep getting blurred. Like these lines keep getting blurred, and they get misunderstood. But when we say, hey, if you reject the Quran, if you reject his messengers, if you reject his angels, if you reject Code 19, you're this is not acceptable by God. God considers this person a disbeliever. People get upset at this, and I just don't understand why. Thank you. That's my comment, please.
Thank you, Warden. Very well said, mashallah. If may I comment on that, add to that?
I think we have Brother Ibrahim next. Go ahead, Brother Ibrahim.
Okay, mashallah. I just want to say again that I'm grateful that today is a day for the Quran study, and whatever we are studying, we have to put them into practice. I want to just call my family, those who are aggrieved, those who are not happy with themselves, with one another, to please remember that they believed in God and they want to make it to heaven. And the only way they can make it to heaven is by observing his commandments. I want them to please kill their ego, those who are aggrieved, those who are, have been having issues that is dividing us. I want them to kill their ego. I've just put two verses in the chat for 25, 43, for 43, 25, for them to look at them carefully and kill their ego, to reconcile the family, bring back the peace, love, and unity that is in this Shabbat, that is among us. Brother Yusuf, Sister Lisa, Brother Nabi, Brother Hassan, I want all of you to kill your ego and come back as one family. Come back to this Shabbat as one family. We must not be divided. We must not have another Shabbat. If we have any issue, let us come together, reconcile ourselves, and be united. Please, we must not scatter our strength. Surah 4, verse 86. You have to remember all the verses you have memorized in your head. in your heart. Whenever you have any issue, remember the verses you have memorized and observe God. This is my own take for now. MashaAllah. God bless you all.
Inshallah, brother.
We have next on the list, brother, Sister Fari.
Thank you. God bless you for moderating. Can be challenging. These topics to moderate. Mashallah, Brother Ibrahim. I think, praise God. I think that that's the thing is I think we want to move towards peace, and that's what God advocates, and unity. And I think that's inshallah, that's the spirit of having these conversations. Is how can we do while appreciating the blessings and the good, including the submission servers where we can gather and study God's word and hopefully learn and share. How can we do better as individuals and as a community? And maybe we can each individually try to live that individually and as a community. How can we do better? And I think that kind of specifically for me, I'm trying to understand this thing about being a moderator on the other. And I think, I think that, yeah, it would be nice if we can all be in one server, but if for whatever reason there's multiple servers, I think being able to, everyone being able to kind of go back and forth as long as people are observing, not, violating, not aggressing or oppressing, not violating guidelines. I think that would be a good thing. So yesterday I went on to the other server to announce the study that I had, and I was told that a lot of people could not come because they were banned here. So that was concerning to me. And I've been asked to also host studies in the other server. And so that's concerning to me that if I'm a moderator
15
there,
seconds.
then, so I guess I would like to understand, I'll put out this question. How is it a risk if somebody is a moderator there? If we don't open a link that somebody sends us, how is that a risk? Thanks.
Triple, if
we
you
have
can put me on the list.
we have Brother
Yeah.
Naveed next and Brother Peter
Yeah.
after her.
Yeah, a
Brother
couple
Julian,
things.
can I go after all of those guys,
Yeah.
please?
I got you, Brother
Yeah.
Holman.
Yeah. So there's just so many layers to this. But before I get to the server issues, I just want to point out the verse issues Quranic topic. So it's interesting that the same people that say that we should be careful listening to the audios because we might take something out of context, they actually end up taking verses out of context. 262 is one of the verses that is taken out of context, right? And what's interesting is that if you look at the introduction, the messenger of the covenant gives the following statement. He says, all submitters who are devoted to God alone and do not set up any idols beside God are redeemed in God's eternal kingdom, 262. A criterion of the true submitters is that they will find nothing objectionable in the Quran. And this is consistent with this concept in the Quran of more knowledge brings more responsibility. A lot of submitters are trying to break this rule. They're trying to shatter it. They're saying, look, it doesn't matter how much knowledge you have, 262 is going to apply no matter what. And that's just not how it works, right? And so the concept is you cannot reject anything from God. You can't, and this depends on your level of knowledge. You can't reject an angel. You can't say, I accept 15 billion angels, but I don't like Michael. I'm going to reject Michael. No, you can't do that. You can't reject any prophets, can't reject any messengers, can't reject any scriptures, can't reject any miracles. You cannot reject any messengers. And the same thing, you can't reject any revelations or teachings. We cannot reject anything from God. Nothing, right? The moment we reject something from God, we fall out. 262 no longer applies. 262 is the bare minimum for everyone on earth as a starting point because of the natural instinct placed into all people in chapter 30, verse 30. The natural instinct for all people is to worship God alone. Right? But with more knowledge comes more responsibility. Now, a lot of submitters are abusing 262. They're saying, well, okay, now we have knowledge of all this other stuff. It doesn't matter if I reject it because I could revert back to 262. No, that's abusing the Quran. That's unacceptable. That's wrong. Okay, so that's just a false understanding. And
15 seconds.
yeah, wait. Okay, I want to just talk about the server issue. I
can put you back after Peter.
Yeah,
No,
sure. I just
you're gonna
wanted to
stay
say. Hold on, I'm being interrupted.
Brother, your time is up. Let me put you after Peter, and you can go again. All right?
I think Phasmo is trying to speak, but they interrupted me.
Brother Peter, it is now
Yeah,
your
put
turn.
me back, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll put you back after Peter. Did anyone else want to go after
Put me
Naveed?
before Navid. Put me before
Okay,
Navid.
okay, I'll put you before Naveed, Brother Aham.
Please put Brother Raju on the list.
All right, I'll put Brother Raju after Alham, and then Naveed last. All right. Oh wait, after Peter's homie. All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Brother Peter.
Well, can I just? I think Brother Naveed was on a roll. Put me in a list, and I swap my place with Naveed.
All right, I got you, brother. All right, go ahead, Brother Peter.
Yeah. So again, there's two things. The aspect of security is not in the sense of the mod. Like, there's nothing. Someone who's a mod there. I mean, they risk their own security for that server, but it doesn't impact this server. What does impact this server is the fact that you have people who are deliberately, plotting and scheming to try to figure out ways to penetrate our server to take it down. And when you openly, embrace these people with open arms and extend love and friendship towards them, that becomes a security risk for this server. But the main thing, the issue, like why we're setting the line with, hey, if you're a mod, is because if you're not a mod, you don't have the responsibility to basically moderate that server. And if you do have that responsibility, we're going to hold you accountable, right? So that's kind of the issue. So if someone chooses to be a mod over there and they're not regulating on slander, insults, doxing, people plotting and scheming to try to figure out how to nuke our server, we're going to basically hold them responsible. So that's why we're giving that ultimatum. Either you can, just be a member of that server, but if you choose to be a mod, you can't basically participate here, because at that point, in essence, I hold those individuals responsible.
Thank you, Brother Peter. You have 50 seconds left.
I'd like to take his 50
No, that's all.
seconds and add it to my time.
All right, Naveed, you got 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to say, I mean, we shouldn't mince words, right? Peter's right. So this is a cyber terrorist infested server. If anyone wants evidence of this, I can share it. I think I shared a screenshot of them actually in the process of trying to destroy this server. Did anyone see that? So they made an announcement. They say it's the final straw of the submission server. We're going to destroy it fully. And these are people that are openly in existence on that platform. Look, so this is just from a few days ago. It says this is it. The final straw of the submission Discord server will get nuked by some individuals that aren't in this server. It's done. The Sunni admin will grant us perms in a couple of hours. I'll notify when the attack will happen, so you may watch it live. These are the kind of people that are running free over there, Sister Fari. So you're going to a terrorist-infested zone, cyber terrorist zone, and degenerates, and the worst people, like in terms of actual crimes, violations of Discord servers. That server is already in danger of being destroyed, let alone the fact that they create fake audios of Rashad, let alone that they're preaching against the messenger. And even we felt so bad that it was a point where there was activity. We said, look, we have to stand up for submission, even if it's on an enemy territory. And we went there to help, and they would attack us. We'd be fighting Sunnis, Christians, others, and atheists, and they would still, the quote-unquote submitters of that server would still be attacking us. So it reached a point where it's just beyond bearable means. We just said, sorry, we cannot engage with this platform anymore. We fully disengaged. We're gone. And I highly recommend anyone that's involved with that platform, leave immediately. Just get out of there. That's my recommendation. Of course, anyone's free to do whatever they wish. And Peter stated that our ultimatum is towards any moderator or admin over there. That's just what it is. And we're taking a strong stance, and this is non-negotiable at this point. We had serious consultation about this for at least over the last month, and it's caused so much damage, so much destruction, and Satan has caused so much harm over what? Over nothing. And so the line is drawn in the sand. There's no excuse on this, and we're more than happy to provide a space here. Sister Fari, look, you've been able to have Quran studies 2-3 times a week, every week here, and this is in spite of me believing you have horrible understanding, but you haven't been censored in any way. Right? This is free speech. This is above free speech because we're providing you privileges that don't even exist for other, entities, or is not even a right, right? So that's just what it is. If people don't appreciate that and they want to leave Peter's right, okay, they can go become moderators on a terrorist infested server that genuinely threatens and hurts submitters. We don't want to have anything to do with it. We have no affiliation, no endorsement, no support,
20
no
seconds,
recognition,
brother.
nothing whatsoever. Just zero acknowledgement from our end. And that's just what it is. So if you want to be affiliated with them or be a mod there or do anything this kind of stuff, then you can just choose to be there. We don't want to have anything to do with that. Any of our
5 seconds.
admins or moderators. Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother.
One
We have
question.
brother Aham next.
Yes.
Can I go
Messenger.
in the end, please?
I got you,
No.
brother Homie. Then you swapped with Naveed. Brother Aham is next, then brother Raju, then brother Homie. Did anyone else want to sign up?
Thank you.
Okay, brother Aham, go ahead. Brother Aham, you still there?
Yeah, I just had to go and unmute myself. It's just a very quick comment, right? And it's simply that, so yes, it says anyone who believes in God, but you have to understand, God says, do you think you'll be left alone to say we believe without being put to the test? So we get tested in various ways to see whether we actually believe in God, right? And one of the ways is, again, to see if we believe in his angels, his messengers, etc., his miracles, and whatnot. And all these are various tests. The test of code 19, are you going to accept God's miracle in the Quran? The test of messengership, you're going to accept God's messengers, And a lot of people end up failing these tests. God proves that the majority of people don't actually believe in him. So the second somebody, for example, rejects a messenger of God, rejects a scripture of God, rejects anything from God, it proves you're basically getting exposed for not actually believing in God, and that's all it really is. And there's nothing unquranic about that. Alhamdulillah. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, brother Aham. You had a minute left. Did you want to give it to brother Raju?
Whoever wants to take it, Raju, go ahead.
I don't think that's fair to transfer time from one person to another.
Inshallah, so it's my turn.
Okay, that's fine. Go ahead, brother Raju. Because of Fari's statement, I will not.
No, I
add
think
time
Fari wants to discuss.
Thanks for
Sister Fari, go ahead.
wanting to be fair. No, I'm just saying that I think.
I give my 1 minute to Sister Fari.
Okay, we'll give
No,
1 minute to
no.
Sister Fari. Go ahead, brother
No,
Raju.
because it's not fair. So it doesn't matter if it's for me or for anyone else.
Okay, all right, okay, that's fine. We won't
Thank
transfer
you.
time. We won't
Yeah,
transfer
the 1
time.
minute is very
It's
something. You
fine.
guys are commenting.
Go ahead, brother Raju. You only have
One, 1 minute is.
Well, I've been giving
1 minute
everyone
is all.
2 minutes because of Sister Fari's suggestion.
All right.
So,
So I will
you
do
have 2
1 minute.
minutes,
But okay, so
Mr.
what I'm
Raju.
saying, yeah, inshallah, I would like to remind my brothers and sisters that we are not here to please anyone. It's not about. So I would like to remind you, for example, when Aaron, when Moses pulled his beard, he said, "I fear that you tell me I'm dividing the children of Israel." Basically, Moses expecting him to intervene.
Yeah.
So we are really not here to please anyone, but at the same time, we don't want to go overboard. Like some of the communities you have witnessed, they went to the extreme. Anything you have a small different understanding, you will be labeled as a hypocrite or disbeliever, and you're off. But I mean, there should be a balance. But our religion is very clear; it's transparent. Everything when we look in the light of the Quran, it becomes clear. So what I'm saying to brother Hassan was that really, we don't help them by being nice to them. Okay, I don't want to hurt his feelings, but I sincerely, like a brother in submission, would recommend him to re-examine his belief. When especially the teachings that goes against the teachings of the message of covenant, because his whole mission, his purpose was to come and clarify for us, to clear the religion for us, but in other words, to purify the religion for us. So this was my comment. So at the end of the day, we should not just be worried about pleasing any human being. At the end of the day, it's between us God alone. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Raju. Mr. Naveed, can you take over for me with Mr. Homie, because I have
Yeah,
to
go
go
ahead,
to Dhuhr.
Mr.
I'm about
Homie.
to
Thank you very much. God bless you. Go ahead,
two
Mr.
minutes,
Homie.
Mr. Naveed.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Peace be upon you. I just wanted to 4:137. God says, surely those who believe then disbelieve, then believe then disbelieve. God is setting out a purpose, and that purpose is awareness. And whoever attains awareness from God receives the greatest gift, right? And God further says that those in 2:102, that you shall not abuse the knowledge that God gives you. So what happens in here? We have knowledge. We are in submission. But what do? We use that knowledge and we abuse that knowledge to attack persons. If Sister X or Brother Y, right, are saying things to me, I will hear the truth in relation to the submission that I have. I hear the truth that they're saying, because we are submitters, right? I do not need to go and start attaching their belief or submission to the way they act, right? So therefore, what do? We I've had people who came out of prison, and now they're looking at being submitters. So basically, forgiveness, when God says, I forgive you, I'm most merciful, means our past is past. When God forgives someone, no one should be holding on to their person and the past. Otherwise, we have no choice other than recreating our future in the past. What I see in here, where people go wrong, is they are completely confused, believe, disbelieve, believe, and then abuse the knowledge that God has given them. That's a confusion. When you go call yourself a submitter, go to submission server, right? You get others who reflect you. They become your mirrors. They become your teachers. That diversity is extremely important in submission,
Brother
because we
Homie,
do not
I'm
give
sorry.
authority to a.
I'm sorry.
All
I'm
right.
not in favor of the 2-minute rule, but it is over 2 minutes now. I'm so sorry.
Can
I
I go
didn't
on the
establish
end
this.
list? No problem. Can I just go next after everyone, please?
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Who was next to speak?
I did want to say something. I don't know if there was anyone else after Homie. I didn't have anyone
I
else
think
after Homie.
Fari is
Can I?
trying to talk.
Oh, then let Fari talk. No worries. No worries.
Please go
Peace.
ahead. Please go ahead,
Can we
AAA.
can we recite Al-Fatiha, please, as a break?
Oh,
All of us.
since the brother recommended it, the brother should do the honors.
Okay. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وبأعوذ بك من همزات الشياطين وأعوذ بك رب أن يحضرون. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. ما شاء الله.
Praise God. Yeah. So, Sister Fari, did you want to let me say something?
Yeah, please.
And God willing, I won't take that much time. Go ahead, start the timer, Mr. Naveed. Yeah, I just want to say that with regards to 262, it's a great verse. I truly believe this is the default state that everyone is born with. That if you believe in God the hereafter and you do good deeds, you're guaranteed heaven. But of course, this is with the exception that you don't run into anything else God has given you. Right? If you look at Surah 6, verse 113. you lose your second criteria simply for believing in falsehood attributed to the prophet, right? If you look at Surah 39, verse 45, you will lose your second criteria again if you add anyone next to God in your shahada, right? If you look at Surah 4, verse 150, 151, you are considered a true disbeliever the moment you reject any of his messengers, right? If you look at Surah 4, verse 115, you become God leads you to hell if you reject the guidance from the messenger, right? So there's many verses in the Quran that basically each one is a one-way ticket to hell if you reject it, right? If you disobey it, right? So this 262 is with the understanding that this is the default, and once you encounter other things from God, this is newfound knowledge. It's no longer this 262 is no longer applicable to you as the default, right? More conditions have been attached, right? So this is something I want to make clear to people who are reading the Quran, to not fixate on this verse, because then you'll fall into the trap of Surah 3, verse 7, right, where you extricate a certain meaning from this verse and you cling to it and lead yourself astray. All right. I'm done. Go ahead.
I actually was not I was not in line. I thought I might want to make a comment, but I think I'm going to take a little bit more time to formulate, inshallah. But I did want to say that it seems like there's a brother who's joining us and confused, and I was thinking maybe it would have been good to have this discussion on a submitter, because on the submitter channel, because God advocates peace and justice and unity, and I feel like we have our weaknesses as individuals and as a community, and what we say and do doesn't always represent God's religion. So I don't know if the brother is still here or not. Ron Quixote. But if you are, let me, such a long list that I don't know if I can see whether.
Yeah, they're here,
Yeah,
but
looks
they're
like he's here.
irrelevant. Sister, this is a public server. People just come and go all the time. It's like you're picking out a random person in the crowd and like trying to talk to them.
Well, I'm usually away from the chat, but I just happened to see that he was confused, and I just wanted to, because we don't want to repel people. That's bad for our souls. So I just wanted to say that to say peace and welcome, and hopefully they'll stick around for studies. And I also, maybe I'll just announce that right now we have the study set on the server at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Quran study. Yeah, I may make a comment later, inshallah, but yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody.
Where is Sajjad today? Where is Sajjad today?
He's sleeping, brother.
Oh, go ahead, brother.
I just wanted to thank everybody for their support. We're being attacked from all sides, and it's just really great to get the support. And also, it's just a big deal, so much slander, so much attack, when all we're trying to do is preach God's message day in and day out, invite people to worship God alone. We're being attacked from all directions, and Satan dupes people. And there can even be good people that are being duped by Satan or duped by others to engage in wrong things. Good people that don't know what's going on, are not aware, are not familiar, don't have knowledge, but they can just be tools and pawns of bad actors. And that's what's happening. It's really unfortunate, but we pray that everyone comes around. I pray for everyone's guidance and support. But ultimately, we have to work together to strive. There's a verse that talks about not scattering the strength of the believers, remaining united like bricks in a wall. And these are just all important aspects of submission. That's just what it is. And so I appreciate the ability to talk to anyone regarding any topic, controversial or not, and being able to hash it out and come up with collective resolutions to our issues. This is very appreciated. So I appreciate everyone's support, and especially the new people that are striving. And God is sending a lot of people, and I'm very thankful. And so we just have to be appreciative and keep growing and making efforts to unify. And we have people from all these different communities and countries, and it's not even just a facade. It's not just a false image of unity. We're talking about actual, genuine unity, collaboration, this kind of thing. So
Thank you,
I
brother.
really appreciate that. God says, hold fast to the rope of God and remain united. So we have to really, really take that seriously. Do not take flimsy excuses to divide from the believers.
Yeah, God bless you, brother. Thank you so much. I wanted to notify people. My brother has joined the server. He's a submitter, recent. Please welcome him. He's server username is Mo A. I think it's also M Ding Dong. Funny name. Yeah, he's a recent submitter. Please make him feel at home. Thank you, brother. Brother
You're
Muhammad.
welcome, brother.
You're welcome.
Peace.
What was
Yeah.
his username, AAA?
Mo A. Let's see. Is he still here? Can you say something, brother? Just say hi. You don't have to say a lot.
Peace be upon you, brother, from the same
Peace
mother.
be upon you.
Not from your mother, though. From my mother.
I would like to, inshallah, give a comment.
Yeah, I think that's Bliss, right?
And brother Triple A, can I go?
He says he has no
after
microphone.
everyone.
He says he
Okay,
has no microphone.
it's
What's
fine.
what's the policy on no mics?
It's all right. We'll jail him later and beat him up. All right, guys. All right. So I think brother Homie was in line, and I think Bliss is asking to join the line as well. Is this correct?
That's
Yes.
correct. But I'm happy for sister to go. I can go last.
Are you sure, brother Homie?
Absolutely.
All right, Sister Bliss, please take the mic.
أعوذ بالله من الشیطان الرجیم ربی أعوذ بک من همزات الشیاطین وأعوذ بک ربی أن يحضرون. May God keep us guided in His straight path and grant us correct understandings. So there are different currents here. At least I can see 3 different currents. There may be more, and we seek refuge in God from Satan to reject it. And Satan is using that to disturb the peace. So one is that so we know that Rashad Khalifa, it might take time for people to believe that Rashad Khalifa was messenger of God, a true blessing from God, who explained Quran and discovered math miracle. So we now know that Quran is indeed from God, every word of it, and he taught us how to read Quran, how to understand it, putting all the verses together rather than taking one verse out of context and God forbid going astray. And especially the translation, he has been revising it until the last minute. And so there is, on one side, there is this thing that now if you have if you are not sure about understanding, God says go to God and His messenger. Now His messenger is not alive. And if you have different understanding about messenger explanation, we go to Quran, and then now we go to Quran, and according to Quran, and then also the latest translation of Quran that Rashad Khalifa, God allowed him to put for us. And then we don't find it. For instance, to my understanding, it took me a long time to see age 40. We don't find it, but that is to my understanding, right? So, I think we really have to be appreciative of this translation that God allowed His messenger brought. And it's in Quran. If I don't see it, it doesn't mean that it's
All
not
right,
there.
10 seconds,
And,
sister.
yeah, go ahead.
You had 10 seconds left. Did you want to finish it? Okay.
Yeah, so
Um,
she may have joined later and
I
not known about the 2-minute rule, if you want to explain to her.
I'm sorry, Bliss, Sister Bliss. We did have a 2-minute rule. I guess
yeah.
you may have not been aware of that. I'll give you 30 more seconds to finish up what you wanted to say.
Yeah. So that's one thing, when we go to this latest translation, let us be appreciative. If messenger wrote it down and we don't see it, let's pray to God to make it clear to us. As you know, I was new submitter, and for a couple years I wasn't sure about age 40, and I went to strong submitters and they said it's in there, wait, God is going to make it clear for you. But they didn't label me, they didn't push me out, and nobody called disbeliever. So that's on one side. And then the other side, God is telling us in 652 and other places, do not dismiss those who implore the Lord day and night, devoting themselves to Him alone. You are not responsible for their reckoning, nor are they responsible for your reckoning. If you dismiss them, you will be a transgressor. So we want to be also careful with
Praise
that.
God.
Yeah,
You're
praise
right.
God.
Praise God. Those are good. Those are great verses to remember. Mr. Homi, it is your turn, and then Mr. Elham. Those are the two people I have on the list so far.
Can
2
you
minutes,
please
Mr.
I
Homi.
just want to say that just before I say, Sister Lisa posted a comment. So Brother AAA, at some point, it's interesting to read that to the chat. I just wanted to say that one of the things that the kerfuffle happens is that we in just as God says in chapter 4, Surah 137. Awareness is lost in humans, and that's exactly how they go from belief to disbelief. And when that awareness is lost, their communication with God is lost, so their belief becomes conditional. And all the Sunnis do that. Well, we follow the Sunnah because Muhammad did that, so we can't do that, and whatever. Once a person's belief becomes conditional, then anything at all would destabilize them, push them off the faith, which is basically faith is a trust in God. And that is the pathway that God basically corrects and guides you. God says when Joseph would have fallen for her, and she would have fallen for Joseph, had it not been for God protecting Joseph. So God comes into this, and our job is to accept that. Our refusal to see that, we become conditional believers. Oh, because someone said something to me, therefore they're
30
hypocrites,
seconds.
right? So what I'm saying is that let's not lose the sense of awareness. And please, Brother AAA, Sister Lisa just posted something out.
I did answer her, Brother
Thank
Homie.
you.
Don't worry. Thank you, brother. Brother Homie, if you need some more time, go ahead. You have 30 seconds is a lot of time.
Oh, okay. So if this awareness is not there, then there is no guarantee that our thoughts and judgments are correct. We start seeing things completely differently. Our eyes and ears become blocked and shut. Therefore, we start attributing the submission to individual people. And every single one of them in that submission is a genius and is doing amazing stuff.
Thank you, brother. God bless you.
Thank you.
I believe we have Sister, was it Bliss? Sister Bliss? Oh, Mr. Alham. My bad, Mr. Alham.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Yeah, no, it's just and again, it's not about anybody in particular. It's just the rhetoric that I keep hearing. Is that, well, when Rashad came, he was the messenger. Now that he's passed on, the messenger is the Quran. The Quran didn't cease being the messenger during Rashad's time, right? And again, I think this is like what a lot of people this is where we're having this conversation, right? Is information from God is information from God. If the medium which the information from God came through, for example, like a human messenger, right, dies, that doesn't mean the information dies with them. And we shouldn't treat information from God different. Whether it comes through a messenger or whether it's from his scripture, that information is from God, and we're not supposed to reject any of it. And we should appreciate the blessing. Information from God is a blessing, whether it's from the messenger, whether it's from the Quran, or what have you. These are blessings, and we should appreciate that as a whole. We shouldn't really have this hierarchy of well, I appreciate this more, etc., etc. We just kind of we hear and obey, kind of a thing, whether it's from the Quran. And this is kind of where it comes down to, right? Is what do we do if we don't see something or we don't understand something, and this information is in fact coming from God through whatever medium, whether it's the Quran, like when Quran says, "Hey, you're not supposed to gamble," and somebody says, "Well, I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. I mean, if I do it occasionally and this and that, and it's not really harming me, so what's the?" It doesn't matter whether you agree with it or don't agree with it, or it makes sense or doesn't make sense. If it comes from God and God says X, Y, Z, we just accept it, right? So whether it's the age of 40, whether it's the details of the various prayers or the rites or jinn companion or insurance, etc., etc., perfect happiness, all these type of concepts, we just accept it, and here's the thing: it's not about labeling somebody, oh, if you don't accept it, but we have to teach the people that, listen, when God gives you information, you have to accept it, because if you reject information from God, you're essentially rejecting God. The same way where if you follow hadith and this and that, these lies attributed to the prophets, then it's exposing your disbelief in the hereafter, and therefore you no longer meet the criterion for being a submitter. I think these are good discussions to have, and this is what we should be pointing out to the new people. It's not about labeling them. It's just, hey, what is the expectation from God? That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. I don't think I have anyone else on the list after Brother Elham. Does anyone else like
well,
to?
I had put my name in the chat, but you didn't add
Oh,
me.
sorry, I must have
Unfortunately.
missed it, Brother Naveed.
It's okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Is
God
anyone
bless
else
you.
after Brother Naveed?
Please.
Yes,
Can I go
I
after
did
Brother
as
Naveed?
well.
All right, we got Brother Homie and Sister who?
That's Sister Fari.
Sister Fari. Sorry, sister, I can't see the screen while I'm typing these names down.
No, that's okay.
All right,
Thanks.
go ahead.
So,
Go ahead, Mr. Naveed.
yeah, so I think Brother Elham's made some really good points, and I wanted to add to that. I was having a conversation with the submitter yesterday. He said, why, something along the lines like, why should we be trigger happy or concern ourselves or do these kinds of things related to different people? And I made it clear. I said, look, it's not about other people. We need to have a religion. We need to have clear boundaries, clear parameters under which what our religion is. We cannot establish God's religion on earth. We cannot have any success. We cannot have any tangible. And it's sad because on an individual basis, people like to draw the line at different parameters. Praise God, we had a great conversation with Brother Steve recently, who was asking about this. And, at the beginning, he was very hesitant, but we talked 45 minutes, an hour or more. And he just reached a point where he said, look, I understand where you guys are coming from. Like, it makes sense, and I agree with what you guys are saying. And that's really what it comes down to. Is if you don't have any clear parameters for submission based on the Quran, then you just don't have a religion. You don't. And so, it sounds like we are in the wrong, but if you actually listen to the points made and the concepts and the doctrine, it's actually the right position, right? And so you have to be able to clearly state what is submission. And if you can't do that, say what causes one to fall out of submission, like Brother Elham said, right? And if we can't set these parameters, then everything is useless. It's meaningless, right? Because we're choosing allies, right? So 489 says, if you encounter the hypocrites, it says don't take them as friends or allies. But we need to know, well, what is a hypocrite? Unfortunately, there's too much emphasis on we don't possess the capacity to judge even what this is. If a religion gets muddled, then it's just Quranism. And Quranism doesn't work. It's failed. It's a failed effort. It's a failed concept. And unfortunately, a lot of submitters and a lot of submission is being pushed towards Quranism and the Quranist ideology and movement. And that guarantees our failure. 100% failure rate, right? But that's just what it is. That's just the reality of the situation. It takes someone to have some knowledge and wisdom about this to appreciate the aspects of why it matters, that we need to just embrace submission and pronounce the embracing of submission rather than try to create loopholes, excuses, make up, all kinds of exceptions to actually degrade God's religion and eradicate the truth in this way. That's just what it is, and so there has to be, we can have different personalities. That's beautiful. We're going to bring different concepts to the table, but at the end of the day, we have to have some kind of tangible, coinciding concepts to be on the same path. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother. You are just in time. Go ahead, Mr. Homie. Or Mr. Homie, and then Ms. Fari.
Yes, I just want to make a general point. I had a discussion with someone when I just brought up messengership of Rashad, and they said, "Well, anyone can and find something. Someone can some mathematics." And I said, "Yeah, well, sure. Einstein calculated and actually found that there is a black hole in the universe, and that's the message that he had for us, right? But what does that message point to? Okay, he becomes a messenger of physics. That's fine. But what is our messenger is pointing to? The one who created that black hole. Okay, well, messenger brings a message. We're not worshiping the messenger. Messenger has a message that has to deliver. Exactly like Einstein's delivering, a structured black hole somewhere in there. So being unaware and lack of assessment, God says, what is wrong with them? Go and study the Quran. That requires that awareness. When that awareness is missing, then they become disruptive. And that's one of the reasons they get banned from a server, because people come to that server for guidance. They don't come there to be more confused and disrupted. It's like disrupting a classroom. What would you do to someone who disrupts the classroom? You
30
ask them
seconds.
to stand outside. Thank you.
Brother, 30 seconds is a lot of time. I'm just giving you a warning so you can pace yourself.
Okay, so because of the lack of awareness, they cannot distinguish between what a message is and who the messenger is. The messenger points out to the moon, and they think that everyone's worshiping the finger, and that becomes disruptive to people who are submitters and are after guidance. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. God bless you. We have Sister Fari next. I have no one after her unless someone is
I like
issuing
to
a
go
turn.
after her,
I'd like to
inshallah.
say something as well.
Sister Fari, Sister Bliss, and Sister Rose. We got the ladies in charge over here. All right. Go ahead, Sister Fari. Sister Fari? Hello?
She left temporarily. She'll be back soon.
Okay, then we'll go to Sister Bliss. Sister Bliss?
Yes. So, I don't see this that we are in a classroom and everybody should just obey whatever somebody is teaching, because all of us are sinners. We all may make mistakes. We all may have different understanding. Some of us that now are in this position, they may be called hypocrites by other submitters. So, we are here to learn. God is teacher of Quran, and we are not here to be always united unless it's in righteous matters. And again, we have a journey, and we have different level of intellect, intelligence, and some people come to it faster, some later, and it's a journey. It's a journey to learn, and that's why God says, first when you accept the message, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, there is no God but one God, you call yourself submitters. When you get to certainty about everything, yes, if they're not certain, that's a sin. But also God says God is a judge. God knows, that there is a journey. So we also want to be careful in that, to not repel, to not dismiss, to say what we have to say when we know it's right, to not have a dictatorship. I don't think that's freedom of choice. We say what we have to say, and if we want to jump the gun and call anybody that in
15
their
seconds.
journey they're still weak, it's repelling. So we have to be very careful.
Thank you, Sister Bliss. You're
Can I
very.
speak? Yeah, thank you. Can I speak?
You are after Elham, who is after
That's fine.
Rose.
I love hearing both of them speak anyway.
Go ahead, Sister Rose. Brother Elham's after, and then Brother Naveed.
Okay, I just wanted to mention when I first came on this server, I kind of always thought like people were being a little bit tough, and I used to tell Naveed all the time, like, you're being too tough. This person's not where you are, and blah blah blah. And I still believe that to some extent, but I've noticed a lot lately that we get a lot of fence riders coming up in here. And I just feel like sometimes we're, I don't want to say wasting time because inshallah they'll get the message, but I feel like if we are gonna have a community that is consistently growing and consistently taking in new members, we have to know where those new members stand, and we can't kid glove it all the time. Like sometimes we've spent enough time with somebody and it's just like they either need to decide that they're going to be a submitter and join in, but we can't continuously put up with cherry picking and nitpicking at different verses and trying to convince people, because then we just become salespeople instead of just submitters. And I just want to point out, like, we just need to stay being submitters and being firm in what it is to be a submitter and not accepting halfways. I'm like a huge proponent of we can't be in the gray, right? We're either submitters or we're in the chain with the shaitan. There's no in between. And yes, everybody has their own journey to reach there, but we can't ultimately try and bend or change or explain everything to the point when someone has to be, I can't accept it if there's like one marble's out of place, then I can't go on the road. You know what I mean? So I think we need to pick and choose when we're going to be ultra sensitive to people. And then also we just need to be a little bit stronger when we're talking to people so that multiple people's time isn't wasted going over the same topic over and over just to appease one person that may not become a believer anyway because they seem to find another reason right after that to not believe. So when we see people that are just constantly looking for a reason to not believe instead of a reason to believe, I think we just need to be a little bit stronger with those
15
people.
seconds.
I'm done.
Praise God. Thank you, Sister Rose. We have Sister Elham next.
Yo,
Elham?
who you calling Sister Elham? Yo,
Go ahead, brother.
Don't even worry about it. It sounds like
We are going to find you, brother.
Triple A.
Call
I
it
got
Wait,
Triple A.
yeah, let's chill. Right to jail. Right to jail. Listen.
Triple
Where's the gift? Right to jail.
Oh no. You're
Yeah.
gonna waste your 2 minutes getting this GIF or GIF?
Nah, get out of here. Get out of here. All right, listen to me. Listen to me. All right. So here's my commentary on just kind of what's being said, right? Like here's the thing. I'm when I see things that are inconsistent, it just makes me ask, like, why? Why is it okay in this circumstance, but in this other circumstance, it's not okay, right? Like, we have no problems as submitters if somebody says, hey, can I add Muhammad's name to the Shahada? We have no problem saying, no, that's idolatry, it's unacceptable, and God won't accept it, right? According to the Quran, according to everything we know, this is unacceptable, right? And we have no problem as labeling that as idolatry, and anybody who does it falls into idolatry, right? We have no problem with saying, hey, can I not believe in God? No, that's disbelief. It's not okay, and this falls into kufr or disbelief, and you can't die as a disbeliever. Why is it a problem for us as submitters to label or identify things as hypocrisy, whether it's a belief or whether it's an action, or whatever, or even the feeling? God talks about fair weather friends, where you're not happy when things are not in your favor, you're unhappy with God, right? Why do we have a problem with saying, hey, this is hypocrisy according to the Quran, this belief, this idea, this understanding is hypocritical, it's hypocrisy, and it goes against these verses, and if you do this, you're falling into hypocrisy yourself. I don't, for the life of me, understand why that's a problem. But for some reason, we have a problem with this, And again, it's not to label somebody. Where when it comes to idolatry or disbelief, we're more than happy with all the non-submitters, or even the submitters. Sometimes we're happy to tell them, "Hey, this is shirk, and if you do this, you're going to fall into shirk. You're going to fall into idolatry." But why is that with the hypocrisy stuff? Because ultimately, we're trying to abide as best as we can by the Quran. And if we come across idolatry or disbelief or even hypocrisy, then
10
we should be able
seconds.
to point it out. That's about it. I just see it as being inconsistent. And again, it's not about judging the person. It's about judging the belief, actions, or behaviors, and trying to move away from that and be more righteous. God willing, thank you.
God bless you. I think it is Brother Naveed next, and after Brother
Thank you
Naveed,
very much.
Farhana.
Yeah. I think this is the thing. I think Rose said it well, and so did Brother Elham. Really, what it comes down to is this issue is not about weak believers or weak submitters and stuff. The people are trying to change the parameters of what even submission is, right? That's really the problem here. This is not about someone saying, hey, I have a problem eating pork. You say, okay, well, that's just what it is, and they have a weakness or whatever, and they say, look, I accept it. No, we have people saying that, no, pork is just lawful. It's okay to eat pork. And we're saying, no, that falls outside of submission. And then someone says, how dare you define submission? Who are you? This is tyrannical. You're being a dictator, this and that. It's like, no, there's clear parameters in submission. Someone that believes pork is lawful to eat, that belief falls out of submission. We're not talking about weaknesses here. So I don't even know why the verses about 49, 14, and 15 were brought. If someone's a submitter, they just accept everything. Does that mean they can always implement everything? No. This is not about certainty or the level of belief or anything. If you're a submitter, just accept everything, but you might not be able to implement it all. So that's all we're saying. I think that's what Brother Elham's saying. That's what Rose is saying, is that we shouldn't be redefining submission to some kind of religious gender fluidity concept. There's no levels like that. That's not a thing. Right? You're either submitter or you're not, but you can be a weak believer. You can commit all kinds of sins. But I don't believe the weak believer is going to deny the existence of sins. That's really the issue. Maybe somebody has a drinking problem, but they don't come here and say, hey, drinking is actually lawful according to the Quran. The moment we do that, we're degrading the religion. That's what's happening. We cannot compromise at all in this regard. So, and specifically to Sister Bliss, we have really good consultations and sessions and discussions, and this is what God commands us as believers. You don't attend those. Every time it gets to like a controversial topic, you just leave, or you just condemn us or make statements like that. I don't see that as Quranic, but if I have a wrong understanding, I sit there, my brothers and sisters in a group, they talk to me, and we reach a resolution. Maybe sometimes I'm wrong, and I change my position. But this takes someone to be able to kill their ego, kill their arrogance, and accept that they're wrong on something. But a lot of submitters, they don't want to be, grilled on a topic. I do, and many times I accept that I'm wrong, and many times I'm right. That's just what it is. But we have to be willing to endure the consultation process. If we opt out of that process, we refuse to engage in it, and then the submitters are collectively reaching conclusions about the religions, and then we're not happy with the results, that's our fault. We lost. We lose out on the opportunity to provide our input. Maybe we have great points, but we cannot do more than this. We can read the Quran, study the messengers, and its
15 seconds, Brother
representation.
Naveed.
Yeah, thank you. We can read the Quran, study the messengers, representation of the Quran, consult amongst ourselves, and try our best to understand. That's what we're supposed to do. That's the most we can do. If we really try our due diligence and do that, and somebody doesn't like the result, then they should participate. That's it. Yeah,
Thank
thanks.
you, Brother Naveed. Miss Sister Farhana is next. Sister Farhana, can you unmute?
Yes, assalamu alaikum.
Excellent.
Okay, I'm sorry to cut you guys off. I'm sure you guys are having
No,
something
no.
more important.
Lovely to hear your voice.
I just wanted to answer, I think Sister Lisa had a question, not a question. She made a statement in the chat. I don't have it right in front of me. I'm sorry, but I think it's along the line that there was a time when I was attacked in this server, and how it was handled. Is Sister Lisa, please correct me. Is that what you said? If it was handled by the admins of the server, is that your question? Okay, attacked, yes. Okay, so yes, in the beginning of this server, there it was a long time ago. It was at least more than a year ago. There was a person that was vicious, and they were being very malicious towards me. And uh, not all the admins that exist right now existed back then. So I think the people that were there was Naveed, Peter. Um, but Peter was busy with his own. I think he was going through something personal, which is why he was not very active in the server. Naveed had his own personal issues as well. 99% of the time he wasn't on the server. But did I reach out to them to ban the boy? Absolutely. Was it handled, or how were they handling it? I don't know, but as far as I was on the server, and I'm just being complete honest, I felt he wasn't being addressed. But again, we were very raw, right? This server was still growing. They were learning how to deal with people. Now there's a jail, there's so many different things. I'm not trying to support anybody. Absolutely, I would have loved more support at that time. I think Akiba, being the Jewish brother of our server, he's the one person who took a very solid action against this human being, and finally Naveed had to ban him. Well, did I have the ability to ban the person? Yeah, I was a mod too, but I didn't. Um, and there was my daughter too. There was other people, but I really wanted this to be a fair judgment on others who are in charge of this server. So I kind of hoped for more support. And yes, did I cry that my brothers were not being supportive towards me? I did. But am I going to hold that against them today? No, because I think they have a better handle on how to handle these situations now than they did in the back then. I think they were not as strong, or they were not able to make a quick decisions on situations like that. And this is maybe me being the nurturing person that I am, voicing what I think. Only God knows what is everyone's intentions, okay? But honestly, I do expect better results from them today than I did like 1.5 years ago. Obviously, at that time, we all are growing as a server, everybody, and I think Sister Lisa can agree. Everybody has come a long way by God's grace. I don't know. Have I addressed everything you said, Sister Lisa? If not, please go ahead and say it.
Thank you for your honesty, Sister Fahana. Yes, that's exactly what happened. We just wanted to portray how a new server was behaving, okay? And 1.5 years ago, this server was what? 6-7 months old, okay? Compared to the other server, which is only just 1 month old. And you expected that server to perform the same as you guys here right now? Come on. You couldn't even get it right with Fahana's case 6-7 months on, with that many people here as moderators and admins, with all the knowledge and experience that you guys had. And there's only one person under attack here. And you see over there, how many people were attacking us? Not only from you guys, we also are under attack with all the other people that we weren't expecting to join. Just please, put yourselves in our position before start sending machine gun bullet at us. Peace.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not understanding. What do you mean by us? Like, again, I thought we came to a resolution. You wanted Brother Homie to be mod here. That was the condition. We complied with
We
your
were
condition.
talking about Dan.
Okay, so what's the situation now? Are we done now? Because why are you bringing up the past? I thought we made a resolution.
Because you were trying to poison everybody's mind here who's present in the Quran study, 60, 70 people, however many did today, to give them the bad impression of what the other server is like. You're portraying such a bad image. They're terrorists. They're enemy of God. They're hypocrites. This and that, based on what happened in 1 month old.
We can
And
address this.
my comment is all based on what happened and how we had to handle it. I was involved at the time. Peace.
Okay, go ahead, Brother Peter. Yeah.
Hey, Assalamualaikum. Yeah, I mean, what I would say, it's not the fact that it happened. That's fine. It's the fact that when it's brought up, it was brushed off as if it's not a big deal, right? When I addressed you and I addressed Yusuf, I said, look, why is it that you guys just allow, adulting and insults and
Why
slander and false
still-
accusations that rather than
Still
saying,
not
hey,
saying it.
thanks for bringing this to my attention, we'll remove it, it was a 4-hour discussion to why I was
Triple A.
mistaken for even bringing this up. So that's the difference, right? If someone, in regarding Farhana's case, it's interesting. The second I heard about it, I kicked the guy, right? I don't remember it was me, but basically he was gone.
You didn't?
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely I did. Absolutely. The second that I heard, and it's true, I took basically some
Yeah,
time
but
off
you
the server.
heard too late, Peter. You heard too late. Damage is already
Well,
done. Sister Farhana was
can't-
already hurt, and
I can't,
she was
I can't be responsible for what I
same
don't
as
know,
you,
right?
same as
No,
you,
no.
right?
There's a big difference here. It's not like Farhana brought this up and I was like, oh, you're overreacting. What's the big deal, right? The second it's brought up, it's handled.
But Navid was there.
And that's
Navid was
yeah,
there all along.
well,
Why didn't
well,
Navid act like you?
I don't know. I mean, Navid can speak for himself, but I'm saying like
Like
this
he's
is
here
the big
all the
difference.
time. So
Yeah.
it's like you guys are accusing me.
No.
Avis is accusing
There's-
me for not doing anything
Yeah.
when I am not there all the time. So I
Okay,
cannot
but I-
equally blame you for not being here all the time.
No,
but
it's not
Navid
about
was.
being. It's not about being, and I guarantee it's the fact is it's like
Yeah.
saying, look, if it's brought up, like no one is coming and saying, hey, that guy's behavior is justified. You just need to be patient, right? Because that's what I heard for 3-4 hours when I'm bringing
That's what
up
I
these
heard
things.
from Navid when I brought
right?
it up about Farhana. Navid said that that guy isn't doing anything wrong. He's just posting Quranic verses. He refused
Sure.
to look behind it.
Okay, so
What are you
again,
talking
we should-
about? What are you talking about?
Farhana,
No,
explain
no.
yourself.
Farhana, can you correct her, please?
Yes, wait, guys, I thought I already said this. I didn't wanna bring up the situation Naveed was in. He was already having certain issues with his own personal life,
And
he
I wasn't. Yusuf wasn't.
No,
You're
my dear
making you're justifying why someone has to behave the way they did at the
Sister,
time.
can you please
So
let people speak?
please
Sister,
allow
can you
the
please
same
let people speak?
excuses for all the moderators and
Hey.
admins over there.
Sister Lisa, I'm not even once saying anything about you or Yusuf because I don't know about you guys. At that time, I knew about Naveed. So was I upset with him for not taking out time from his life to give me this little support? Yes, I was disappointed. But was he going through his own thing? Absolutely. I'm not justifying nothing. I'm telling you how it was, okay? And
Thank you.
have I seen Naveed not being as active as he is today? He's almost 24-hour here, but in those days you can barely see him online because he was so busy with his whatever life. And he knows this. I have even voiced it to him. When he did come on the server, remember, I mean, as far as I know, I don't know if Mick Lincoln's in the chat. Mick Lincoln was addressing so many of the people's outburst in the chats. Naveed, being the person that he is, he usually tries to bring everybody in the VC and talk about things, but he wasn't there present. He didn't even know these things were being addressed. And mashallah, in those days, I reached out to McLincoln in private too, and seeing that he's so active, he's doing this, he's doing that. So that being said, I know for a fact Naveed wasn't active. It's not like he was active, but he was ignoring my issue. He was not active, but when he was active, he was very limited knowledgeable about what was happening. So the things that he did come to know, I feel like he didn't address it right away the way he should have. And like I said in the beginning, he wasn't aware how he's going to handle. He did tell me, I tried talking to the guy. The guy doesn't seem to understand this and that. Like he seems to be psychologically having issues. And he was trying to tone it down to me, like how I should be a little more patient about it. But you know what? At the end of the day, this thing was handled, and that's all I care. I mean, I'm not saying whatever's happening with that other server or whatnot is, it's, this and that compares. These are very different situations. This place, there was only one vicious person, and that was attacking just me. And yes, was I reaching out to different people, whoever was here? I didn't reach out to Naveed until almost the end, because he was pretty much absent the entire time. Dude, I never reached out to him because he wasn't there. So I'm just saying, like, now, praise God, we have so much more moderators, and we have so much more who are involved, and I can actually imagine, like, things are going to be addressed right away. Navid, I don't think on purposely tried to do anything bad. And if he made certain bad calls, like bad judgments, it was addressed. Thank God, thank God. Listen, at the end of the day, God is running everything. God sent Akiva, right? And Akiva handled the situation in a perfect manner. And whether anybody wants to admit it or not, at the end of the day, everything gets handled. I am not complaining about the past. I wasn't even going to bring it up now. It's only because you wanted to know if it was being ignored or not. I don't think it was being ignored, honestly, sister. I don't think it was being ignored, but I don't think it was handled the best way possible. That's all I can say. Okay?
Yeah, there's just a big difference, right? Because like Peter's right, there'd be like 6-7 hours of discussions on multitudes of bad behavior, and it just gets swept under the rug. We're not even talking about one person. We're talking about an entire ecosystem of just horrendous slander, evil people, enemies, cyber terrorists, hypocrites, just everything all together. And there's just no action taken at all, and just defensive mode. That's fundamentally different than a delayed reaction by one member on the server. I'm sorry. And it does not last. Even during this VC, you guys don't even know. Several people come and did cyber attacks, defamation, slander. We are so fast to remove it. Nobody here even realizes it. And we just carry on business as usual. Right? That's just what it is. But like in a different space, it's not about even activity. It's like, even if you bring it to their attention extensively, no action is taken. There's cyber terrorists actively, available and engaging, and some of the main people on the other server are actually cyber terrorists. So it's not about experience or lack of people or anything like that. It's a conscious decision to disregard any serious action against bad actors. So this is fundamentally different. But anyways, Lisa, I thought we're past all this. You made your request with Homie. We accepted it. So I thought you're done. I thought you're. I thought you're.
You left, brother. She's been gone
Who
for
left?
about 5 minutes now. 2 minutes now.
Who left? Who left?
Lisa.
She's still on the call, brother. She's still here. She's still
Oh,
here.
okay. He said she left
She's
earlier.
Yeah, she's still here. Peace be upon you. Yeah, so Sister Lisa, you made your requests with Homie. We acknowledged them, we accepted them, we implemented them, and I thought you were done. Like, we're done with this whole thing, and you're just gonna abandon the other movement and just come back. I thought that was the agreement, and Brother Homie also kept up his arrangement, and he also acknowledged that, and he abandoned the other platform. So I thought that was the deal, and you're here too, and God willing, we can fully restore our relations and have a great time preaching submission. Did I understand that incorrectly?
Peace. How can this movement, initiate, whatever you want to call it, be happening if I have to abandon that server? I think you're getting it wrong. How can I be bringing people from there over here if I'm not allowed to be there?
I mean, I
you
guess you can
completely
be a
got
member.
it wrong.
Yeah,
Homie, are you here?
Homie abandoned it. Homie left outright.
Yeah, I never said I would. I'm the one
You
who's
said-
going to be your intermediary to bring people from over there who seriously wants
I
to
think-
learn and grow
I think you can contact
themselves
them
in
off.
submission.
I think you can contact them off the platform.
You're
You don't
getting
have
it
to
wrong,
be,
Navid. So
Yeah,
what
I'm
now?
saying-
If I won't
Yeah, I'm
leave, what now? You're gonna ban me?
No, I don't think you could just. I don't think the issue is about banning you for just being there, but I think the commitment from you was that if we make Homie mod, you just come here and you just wouldn't spend your time there anymore. It wasn't about
No,
being a
you got it
member.
totally wrong.
So what was the agreement?
The agreement is I'm going to be going back and forward from that server to this server, bringing people over there, which we can filter who are really
But we don't
genuinely
want.
interested to
We
come
don't
over
want.
here and focus on. There you go. See, you're getting everything wrong.
No, but we don't want cyber
Ask
terrorists
Homie,
here.
okay?
Yeah,
Please, I
we
really
don't.
have to ask Homie what
All
the
right.
situation is.
Okay.
Peace.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I would just say the 2-3 people, the two Sister Fari's comment, the 2-3 people that we banned, you can contact them off of Discord even, or like we have all their contact information. But the other people, we don't want them here. The cyber terrorists, the slanderers, the enemies, the people that fight us, we don't even want them here. So I'm sorry, like I don't even want, first of all, if they're banned with good reason, we don't just ban people, right? We have a whole process. And if we do ban, it's for good reason. And if there's an appeal, okay, bring the appeal, right? But if you're going to be going there and inviting terrorists to the server that we banned, we don't want that. We've banned 4,000 people since we opened Discord 2 years ago. We don't want anybody to invite terrorists here, or cyber terrorists, or people that we deemed, not fit to be on this platform. So that's just what it is.
Is Triple A still moderating? I'd like to get on the list, inshallah.
It's just no one was.
You can just speak.
Yeah, no one was
You can
joining
just
any.
speak. Go ahead. You're not limited to 2 minutes. Just talk, sister. Go ahead.
Okay. Praise God. Okay. I didn't know what was going on. Yeah. So, where do I start? There's a few points I wanted to. Let me see. I was about to switching God from singular to God merciful. Yeah. So there's a few things I wanted to address. One is regarding the verses. And I think so. AAA, I'd like to know. I think you quoted a few verses, but it was fast. If you remember,
Sure.
we go 262.
Yeah, I got you.
If you can put it in the chat, that would be. I'm
I'll put
usually
them in
away
the
from the
chat.
chat, but at some point I'll look at them, inshallah. Yeah, so I wanted to share about the 262 that, this is the verse that, in my understanding, Dr. Khalifa put at the beginning of the Quran, like he separated this verse and put it as kind of like the, on a page at the kind of before the title page of the Quran. And it's, I agree that the more we're given, the higher our responsibility. My understanding is that ultimately, like, God is the judge, like only he knows what each soul is responsible for, what they need to answer to. And so for me, like when I read the Quran, like, yes, I want to it would be, the wise approach would be for me to do my best to try to fulfill as much as possible so that I can be as close to God as possible in the hereafter. That would be the wise approach. At the same time, I can't say, okay, because somebody is not here or there, therefore they're going to end up here or there. I hope that makes sense. So God is the judge. God is the one who knows. The Quran is for me to hold myself to these criteria. And yes, if I'm going to marry someone or ally, certain situations I may need to make a judgment. And I may be wrong. And even if I'm right now, that may change. God may redeem, even if they're hypocrites or disbelievers. God may guide them. He may redeem them. So this is for me that I want to try to adhere as much as possible to it, and it's a journey. Like we learn that even alcohol that God says is prohibited, God says do not pray while intoxicated, showing that initially it may be hard for someone to avoid to stop drinking alcohol completely. So to start with, at least not becoming intoxicated when they're praying, and then hopefully gradually they get off. They if there's an addiction, that they're able to overcome that. So and there's different levels of faith and righteousness. So we have like 495, like that talks about different ranks. So yeah, I mean, it is when it says beliefs in God, it is, we know that we cannot set up idols.